Good morning and welcome to the Road to the NHC. I'm Scotty McKeever, and this is the weekly show that's your ticket to the 2025 National Handicapping Championship in Las Vegas, Nevada. Each week we'll dive into the world of online tournament play. My partner, as usual, and 2022 NHC champion David Harrison. What is up? We haven't done this in like 3 weeks.
Yeah, we've taken a freshening. We're all for freshening here, I guess, a 3-week freshening. And I missed the show, so it's good to be back. And I'm off a slighter freshening since Sunday. I haven't even looked at any races or horses. I've been traveling up from South Florida, driving up. So I am fresh. I'm ready to go. I broke out my Equinedge this morning, and off a freshening, I think I'm seeing I'll be seeing the ball well today. So let's give it a shot.
And how did you do at the Preakness Stakes? Did you have any luck?
Yeah, well, I didn't. I didn't hit the Preakness itself. I was rather disappointed in the ride that Frankie Dettori gave Imagination. I believe that horse should have just gone to the outside. He was way wide, and as soon as he didn't get the lead, I said, this horse, Seize the Great, could wire this field. So yeah, that just was the low light of my day, unfortunately. But actually had a couple nice winners and some real nice winners at Aqueduct. So I had a profitable day. So no complaints. So the problem is, Scotty, when you have a lot of novice horse players who reach out to you because you're the expert, and ask you, the winner of the Preakness, Derby, and Belmont Stakes, and then you give them a horse who doesn't even get the lead. And it's only one race out of 15 races that I was looking at that day. So it turned out to be a success for me. So
David, you're doing this all wrong. All you have to do is tell them to go to the Scotty Longshot. That's all you have to do. We have the Scotty Longshot in the Kentucky Derby, the Scotty Longshot in the Preakness. What do you want? Look at this. We give you the trifecta. Look at 653. Yeah. Well, it's backwards, but 653. If you go the direction, if you're down under in Australia, we hit it. 653.
Right. Well, right on, brother, because that's what I'm going to have to do in the future. I'm like, just go on the Scotty Longshot. I'll send you the Scotty Longshot, and then. You've had a good success rate. So I should have just used the Scotty Longshot. In retrospect, I should have guessed to use another speed in my pick, because that's the race I missed the pick, my pick 4.
Let's watch this. Let's see what the race simulator had.
Yeah.
When you have a wet track like that too, I think all bets go. I think we all thought that the 9 Imagination was going to get the lead, but the jockey really didn't send. The jockey did a really nice job on the 6, sending that 6.
Correct.
You can see that any one of these 4 horses could have probably got the lead. I really didn't. I know it was the top win percentage. I did not like Imagination in the race at all, for me personally. But it does have, you can see the 6 is right there. If you figure plus or minus 2 points or 2 lengths or something, you can see that the 6 is right there. So a length and a quarter back of the 5 who the system has winning the race, Mystic Dan. Our top pick was Catching Freedom. Down the stretch, I really thought Catching Freedom was gonna win, but they didn't go because Imagination didn't go. That really helped Seize the Gray. That's the thing you don't know. Like, this is where betting becomes so important, because you could do everything right in your handicapping, but the race just doesn't play out the way you think it's going to play out. And so you have to make sure that you cover yourself and you're somewhat conservative. Like in the Pegasus tournament, I talk about this all the time because I think it's very important. And that is, I covered my bet, and on my cover bet in one of the races, when I won that tournament, it was my $25 trifecta that won me the tournament. Right. And that was my cover bet. So, I mean, anything can happen right here when you look at least you look at the simulated race, but luckily for Seize the Gray and their connections and Lucas and all, Imagination didn't go.
Right. And like I said, in retrospect, looking back on it, I don't recall Frankie Dettori being a jock who's very overly aggressive going for the lead. If somebody else gets the lead on him, he's more of a patient rider. So that in the back of my mind, I'm like, oh, is he really going to get the lead? But he looked like a lone speed, and yeah. So I basically was telling everyone that all the friends who asked, I said it's probably going to be one wire to wire this race because there's not a lot of speed. And again, nobody had them. And I looked at all the picks of all the analysts. I don't think anybody had them in their top four, except one or two respected handicappers that I know. And but with the scratch and Muth, that just made this race wide open.
It sure did.
By the way, the track condition was a big factor.
It was. By the way, big shout out to you and Chris on the Stretch Run show on Saturday. You guys killed it. We had like over 13,000 views on the show. It was incredible. Big shout out to Oldie and Justin. I don't know where Justin's at. Justin's not around, but Dave is back from, I believe Dave was back racing downwind, was back from Hong Kong, I think, right? That sounded like that was a really great trip. I saw a lot of the tweets. But yeah, you guys killed it on the on that show. So if you're new to watching the show here, what this show is, the Road to the NHC, is we're showing you how you can get involved in tournament play. And what it is, you have to sign up for it's $50 a year to an NTRA account. So you go to ntra.com and you sign up for an account, and that makes you eligible to be able to qualify for the NHC. And that's the biggest tournament that we have in horse racing. It's a mythical $2 to win in place. And we show you how you go to horseplayers.com or horsetourneys.com, and you'll see the tournaments that are for NHC points. Now, I don't know if you've looked lately, David, but yours truly happens to be in the lead on the tour with 895 points.
Okay, I did look last weekend before we did the Saturday show. And by the way, thanks for having me on the Saturday show. I had a blast doing the show, so it was a lot of fun.
There's a look at it right there.
Yeah, as I looked at it yesterday, last weekend, Scotty McKeever was in second place. So
I was in second by a couple hundred points, but that got my competitive juices going, and I'm like, okay, no. And on Friday, there was 417 people, and I ended up getting 14th. And so that got me some points. And
nice.
Yeah, so that was nice.
Okay, very good. And when you're in your position, you just have to accumulate those points no matter how you do it. Because now we're not even at the halfway mark, and you're in the lead. So there's plenty of tournaments, and these guys who win the tour are in the top 10. They play almost every tournament. I mean, personally, it's difficult for me to do that and maintain my concentration level that I need. So, but keep it going. I was trying to catch you originally, but now I'm a little far behind. But really, it only takes is a nice placing or two over a week or two period, and you can catapult in the top 10 very easily. So, and the top 25 cash prize, and I believe, is it top 10 the halfway, the first half, or is it the top 25? I'd have to look into that, but I know there's the top half season or halfway point.
What happens?
You have the leader at the halfway point. I believe you get either a 10K prize or a BCBC seat. So
wow.
I'd have to look into that.
Which is one and the same.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is one and the same, because the BCBC is $10,000. That's the Breeders' Cup tournament, and so of course I'm going to be playing in that. But I want to encourage people. Like, I can't even tell you, like, the mythical $2 to win in place, I was horrible at. I really was, and I mean, you've had an affinity for it. Cash tournaments were my thing, and now I can't win a race in a cash tournament, and I seem to be figuring out this mythical. So we're going to show you, of course, in David Harrison. You guys are looking at the 2022 National Horse Players Champion. It is just incredible. I mean, it's just an incredible feat. You are the Silver Sunday champion, defending Silver Sunday champion. You won $25,000 for that tournament, correct?
The Silver Sunday was 25K. Yes.
Yeah, 25K for that. And remind me, when you won the NHC in 2022, was the purse money 800,000?
No, it was less. I only my purse was 7.25, 725.
Okay.
And that's because it was a pandemic year. The year that I won and the year preceding me, Justin Masteri won, it was 725. Because a lot of people were, a lot of players, qualified players, were deferring. So yeah, each year they could. There's many players, not as many in the year that I won, but I think the same percentages basically. So I'll take the 725. 800 would have been better, but So still, that's a big chunk of change, and for me, and like I said, telling everybody, it was a life-changing score, and it truly was a life-changing score for a middle-class guy like me, a middle-income guy like me. So, if I can get it done. So, I mean, you don't have to be, someone who's been playing this game for 30 years. There are many first timers who make the final table. All you have to do is get on a roll, and the key is qualify to get there. And, you got a ton of money on the line. And even if you finish in the top 10%, you're looking at, $10,000. So who wouldn't want an opportunity for a free trip to Vegas, 4 nights, hotel, buffets, and food covered? It's a really good trip and come back with 10K. So I would do that any day of the week, fly to Vegas for a 10K tournament.
Well, and look what Chris Moneymaker did for poker. I mean, he's a prime example of being able to, be an amateur player and come in and win that. This is what we're looking at here. And it's really a lot of fun. And the cool part about it is most of these tournaments are called pick and pray, where you put in your plays for all the 10 or 12 races and then go about your day, watch, see how you're doing, that type of thing. And some of them are live. Those, require you to be, right there by your computer or at the track and playing every single race. But I'm growing to really love the pick and pray. And one of the reasons why I think I like the pick and pray so much, even a little bit more than some of the NHC is really a lot of fun though. But you have to put in your plays ahead of time, right? You can't all of a sudden you're like down and you're like, okay, I better go find a bomb 20-1 shot and that comes in. It really, there's skill involved in this, and you've got to put in your plays and your strategy ahead of time. And then once the first of the races goes off, that's it. And you can't change it. I kind of like that.
Yeah. And really, a lot of horse players think that's a truer test of handicapping, right? If you have 12 races to play, like today, you have 10 races to play, right? Yeah. If it was and so you got to put your picks in advance. Now, I usually have never won when I've qualified online without either a cap horse or at least a $30 horse. But not necessarily. That doesn't necessarily have to be the strategy to win it, because there are some days it's very chalky, and you can put gets 5 or 6 winners out of 10, and no horse over $10, and you can be right there. But so you have to put the picks in advance. If you want to pick a long shot, you got to pick it in advance, right? So it's not same with the live tournament today. If you're down in the 7th race and you've got 3 more races to go, and you're not even close to the pack, your only strategy and hope is to bomb away, right? Okay. So it's not really a true test. You're just taking these flyers and tossing them out, and it's horse racing. I mean, anything can happen here. But and again, I've been nipped so many times by an 80-1 shot late in the game. I'm like, you got to be nuts if you wanted to play that horse for real money. But that's the strategy. I mean, it doesn't do a player any good if you awarded money to the top 3 or seats to the top 3 and you finish 4th, or you might as well finish 400th if you don't get that long shot up. So you gotta swing away in the live tournaments if you're way behind. So I agree with you. Sometimes.
So today, David, we've got right now you're looking at the top line right over here. You're looking at the feeder. and that feeder is $18. And I believe like the top 46, I don't know how many people it is, but it's between 40 and 50 people qualify for the $75 qualifier. So
Right, it's one in five, correct, or one in 10?
One in-
I've got to
it's-
look at that.
I think it's one. It might be 1 in 10.
Yeah, it's one qualify per five. So out of every five people,
Okay.
there's one. Yeah, that's
Okay.
for the qualify. That's for the feeder.
That's
right?
for the feeder, right? So basically, you have to put in your plays for Gulfstream Park 2, 3, and 4, Belmont races 2, 3, and 4. So it's 6 races, goes by very quickly, about an hour and 15 minutes, and you'll know whether you qualified for the NHC qualifier. The thing about it is you've got to be ready too, because you have to have all your plays in the pick and pray. So you got to put them all in, and then you have to do the same for the qualifier if you get by the feeder. But like, it's not that difficult to enter for $18 and then qualify for a $75 entry into the qualifier. And then if you finish in the top, I think it's 2 or 3, depending on how many people are in it, then you would qualify possibly to go to Las Vegas. I've got one entry so far. I got my $500 flight travel already, David. I just got my juices flowing. I'm ready to go. I can't wait. Hopefully I'll get another entry and I'll qualify. I'm certainly trying, but it just goes to show you that if you just accumulate points like I've been doing, you can do really well and make some money on the tour.
Exactly. And I think as of last week, I think I was in 29th or 25th or something. So top 25, I think 5,000 at the end of the year. Top 25, if you're 25th, I think it's 5,000. I might be wrong, but even at that point, so I'm in the running to at least get some kind of cash. But we'll see how it goes. But yeah. I mean, it's to me, the tournament, this NHC path is the way to go if you're looking for like a dream payday, right?
Yeah.
Because you can do it with a minimal cash investment. Like you could qualify for $18 today in the feeder, get to qualifier for 70. So for $18, if you finish in the top 3 in the qualifier, you're going to Vegas. So that's as easy, as simple as it is. So even if you don't have a ton of disposable income, you just play the Friday feeders for $18 and maybe 2 tickets for $36.
Yep.
And if you do that every day, every week, that's fine. And you may be able to qualify that way. No one says you have to have a deep pockets in order to get to the NHC. So it can be done with a small investment.
Okay, so we have the first race we're going to go to is Gulfstream Park race number 2. And let's get to it. So we'll go Gulfstream Park race number 2. We'll share this tab. We got the race simulator up as well. I don't know. Are scratches in yet?
Yes. Well, I don't have. There's nothing scratched at Gulfstream, but we've got race 4 off the turf at Belmont. I'm sorry, Aqueduct, Belmont at Aqueduct. So they scratched that race, Scotty, down to a 4-horse field. So we can get to that race.
Which race is it at Belmont?
It's the. Let me see here. The 4th race at Belmont.
4th race at. Oh, I'm on 518. That would help.
That big A, actually.
4th race.
Right. So that was carded originally from mile and 3/8 on a turf. This is going to be now run on a dirt course. Hold on 1 second. Dirt course at 1.25 miles.
Okay. Yep, there it is. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's get. We'll start with Gulfstream Park race number 2. Hold on here.
Yes.
Gulfstream Park race number 2. Let's get to that. Okay, no scratches in here. So what we're going to do, since we have the ability with the race simulator, let's just play the race and see how this mile and the 16th race will possibly play out. You can see it looks like the 1, which is the top pace number, gets the lead early. I'm interested here in the 6-horse American Speed, who's also a horse to watch. You can see a bronze horse to watch, and it's pretty tactical. Jeff likes the in race 2. He likes the 7 horse, who's sitting right there. Did you see the way the 8 was closing? That's really interesting. I think we can confidently throw out the 3, who's 30-1 Equinedge morning line, 4%. But you don't see this very often on the simulator, David. Look, I mean, it's almost a vertical line. In my opinion, on races like this, there is no reason to take any kind of favorite. So what I like to do is I'll sort by the morning line. And I'll get rid of all the favorites. And then I'll kind of go in the stretch here and kind of see. You can see it's got the, I mean, look at that. Wow. Right?
Yep.
I mean, and, you know, and oftentimes we see turf races like this. But, I mean, this is pretty crazy. I think we can, like I said, I think we can throw out the 3. So what we're going to do is we'll try something else here. Let's go horse by horse in order of post and look at the metrics. This is our handy view. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at last race to this race. And so if you look at the SOR, which is our class number, it's the same, 58, 58, 35% last time, today 15%. 61 GSR last time out, 59 GSR. Okay. So in this situation, you're supposed to expect that the horse might regress just a little bit. But Barbosa off a layoff is 24% first time out, second time out, 20%. Still good. This horse, I'm not going to say needed the race off the layoff, but it's certainly you would think this horse is a player in here. So, and then with that speed, the 1's a player. When you look at the 2 horse, what I see is this horse is dropping in class. It's going from a 64 last time out to a 58 today. That's a pretty big drop in class, 14% to 20%, and the GSR goes up. And the horse only lost by 2.5 lengths. So, and the 2 is the Equinedge second pick. Horses like this, you're supposed to anticipate are going to improve. And of course, Zayas jumps aboard too. So I like the 2. In the next race, you've got a horse that has been running competitively, but against an easier group. The win percentage goes up a little bit. It's 4-1 on the Equinedge morning line. So if you're looking for a price horse, this might be the horse for Carlos David, and Gonzalez jumps aboard. And if we look to see the jockey trainer combination is 36% Gonzalez and Carlos David, there might be a price for you right there. Like we're starting to see, just looking more in depth at these horses, that this is a really competitive race. Then you look here and you see the horses dropping in class some. It's had 2 races going 8.5 furlongs, didn't fare very well. Look at the GSR is super low. You know, I know the simulator has the 5 right there, but it's hard for me to use a horse like that with such a low GSR. I don't know. What did you have an opinion in this race?
Yeah, I agree with you. We're on the same page. This is a very wide open race. So I struggled coming up with something here. But when I looked at it, I had a few question marks. Number one, I was focusing on the 6 American Speed. Definitely a contender. The question I have about American Speed at the 2-1 morning line is I have noted here, I've got a concern about the distance issue. I mean, this horse really has never tried going this far, right? Hold on a second. Am I looking at? Yeah, it's never gone this far. And so I had a question about distance issues with the 6 and also the 4, who's 10-1. So I'm looking for a little bit of a price. I agree with you there. And in a race like this, I'm never playing the morning line favorite. So not that American Speed could easily win this race, but for tournament reasons, I am going to look elsewhere. And the horse that, Scotty, that I'm interested in, actually 2 horses here I'm using in the feeder. I have some interest in the 9, Vladislav. This is a horse who has actually won, even though the horse is only 1 for 13 of the Gulfstream turf course, has won at the distance, which is a key because there's a number of horses here who have never won going this distance. This horse has won on the synthetic going at the distance, also won April 22nd of last year at a mile over the course at 13-1. And what I like too is the second race off of a layoff. So this horse had been laid off since March, came back May 9th, wheels right back off a pretty decent prep race, 5th place, 2.25 lengths off. So I'm going to use the 9 on one of my tickets. And the other horse, sometimes with a race like this where it looks like it's so competitive, maybe it's a little simpler than that, Scotty, where I see the speed along the rail, Grand David, also second race off a layoff, ran a decent race on a synthetic with another inside post, and just basically held on and lost, only lost by 3/4 of a length. So I'm taking a chance here with, so I'm going to use Vladislav as my top pick, just laying off the pace and chasing the speed and maybe making one move. And also the 1 Grand David to possibly be a wire-to-wire threat. So Scotty, it's 9-1 for me in this race.
All right. So this is going to be an easy one for me. One of my entries is going to have the 1 horse Grand David. You've got the best gate jockey maybe in America in Jaramillo, and he's on the rail. And look at the rail is 66 feet. I mean, there is no room for horses that are going to close. I don't care for your 9 because this horse needs to be near the pace. It doesn't draw well here, and it's not really going to be that close to the pace. It doesn't look like so. For me, it's going to be a 1-2 easily. I can't choose between them. The 2 horse has speed as well. I think you're going to see the 1 and 2 go from start to finish in the first and second position. That's what I think.
Right. Also with Vladislav on the 9 horse, I like the works. The works are pretty fast. So I'm thinking this horse may show a little more speed. So, but I agree with you. The 2 will be pressing the 1, and maybe the 9 will be laying third. But yeah, you may be compromised by the outside post. But we'll see what happens.
We'll see. You don't know, but that's the way I'm reading the race. All right, let's go to race number 3 at Gulfstream Park. All right, we are going to run the race here. It's a mile. It's a 1-turn mile at Gulfstream Park. Often the horses on the inside do best. Very rare horses from posts that are outside, like 8, 9, and above. They don't fare very well. 5 horse is running away with this. It's also a horse to watch. And you can see, I mean, wow. I mean, this doesn't, like, here comes the 8 a little bit, but that post is going to compromise. That horse will be compromised, especially with the lack of speed. But man, I mean, it's just 5 all the way. Do you take the points? Because look at the GSRs going up as well. It went from 50, it's 54 last time out, to 65, from 15% to 63%, and from 42 SOR to 38 SOR. It is off a layoff for Safi Joseph, who's 26% off the claim, and 23% first race back. If we look at the workouts, there is a recorded from Bruno. Broke well and hustled in the stride, remained under a slight ride throughout, and finished up in good order. I wouldn't say that's endorsing, but gets Zayas. Jockey trainer combination with Zayas is 25% in 744 races. Lasix on for the first time as well. I think, all systems look go here to me.
Yeah, I mean, I can't really go beyond Iron Shield, to be honest with you. Off the claim, drops in class, Safi Joseph, Lasix on, and picks up Zayas. I mean, what else do you need? And this is the bottom of the barrel at Gulfstream for maidens. It is not much in this race. The only other horse that I may consider, but I think on both tickets I would use the 5. I'd like to, in a race, a 12-5 claimer, I'm looking for a new face, maybe have a shot. So I may have a little interest in the 2 Rose View, only because this horse is another drop down from a maiden 16 at Tampa. Stretches out to a mile. But had an outside post, the 11 post at Tampa. That wasn't a bad race. Bumped at the start, so I had a trouble line. Was bet off at 5.5 to 1 in a large field. So I believe they had some interest. They felt this horse could run a little bit. But I think I would use the 5 on both tickets and maybe the 2 in an exacta. So it would be 5-2.
You know what I like to lean on too sometimes, David, is the EE morning line in a situation like this. First of all, this horse might go off at 2-5, and a 2-5 horse and a 12-5 claimer. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, anything can happen. It's a horse race, but you could also say to yourself, "I'm going to try to beat this horse, and if I do beat this horse, then I have a higher chance of finishing pretty good here. And if I don't use it and it wins, what do I really have to lose?" Right? You know what
Exactly.
I mean? Like,
Yeah, many times when I look at a race in a tournament that's got a prohibitive favorite, you have to weigh the question. Do you try to beat the prohibitive favorite or look for a horse could finish second at a big price that might yield a place price that's higher than the win place price of the favorite? 2-5 is not going to get you anything. So what's less, almost $5 and change. That's about it. A little more than that. So if you can get like a 15-1 shot to run second, so many times I'll look for that option, figuring it's only going to cost me $5 really if the horse wins. So that's not going to, one race is not going to put you behind the 8-ball. No. But I tend to use that strategy in the qualifiers rather than the feeders, because keep in mind the feeder is only 6 races. So, and there's a lot of people a lot of players in the feeder. So sometimes the 5 could just make, creep you up the board enough to get you in that percentage where you get a seat to the qualifier. So in this case, because it's a feeder, I'm going to bite the bullet and use the 5. But you know me, I'm a guy who looks for value. So it kind of bothers me to use a 3-5 shot. But, sometimes you got to go with your gut feeling here. But I think the 5 is much the best here.
Understandable. The one thing too, when I moved here to Florida 4 years ago, I started really studying the track. And the one thing I can tell you is horses that on the 1 turns here on the dirt that have outside posts like the 8. So part of my consideration when I look at a horse like the 5 and going, do I really want to key this horse, is looking at the main competition. Well, I think we can all agree that the 8 is one of the main competitions, but the horse is going to end up, it is on the straightaway, I understand, but it does make a difference when the horse is so far wide. It just does. And the horse has no speed, and the post position is not a good play for this 8. So it makes me like the 5 that much more. But now I know that the 1 and 2 holes do really, really well here in the 1-turn races at Gulfstream Park. And Dave said he kind of liked this 4 horse. I agree with Dave. I think this 4 horse at a price, the Scotty Longshot, could do very well. And then the 2. So for me, if the 5 is sound and good, and why not? $25,000 purse here for a 12-5 claimer. They claimed the horse for 16. They've got it in for 12. It's a good move to me. I think the 5 is going to win this race over either the 2 or the 4. That's what it looks like to me. So who are you going with in here?
I'm using the 5 on both tickets. The only horse that I would have a little interest in is the 2. But you have a good point with the 4. If you want to play the 4, that's a drop down too. This horse has been in a maiden 16, but is it really a drop down? I don't know. That maiden 16 at Tampa is probably the same as a maiden 12-5 here. So I don't know if it's really a drop down. But Alma Pura and Rose View ran against each other back on February 24th at 7 furlongs. And Alma Pura just dusted Rose View. But in Rose View's defense, that was Rose's first start. So she has the ability possibly to move forward off that race. I always like to give a horse a couple of races before they start learning the game, right? Yeah, so, sure. In this case, if I was planning exact, I'd probably give the 2 a slighter edge over the 4, but I'm all over the 5 at this point.
The great part about I think Equinedge is the different metrics that can catch your eye. So when you're looking, and when I look at this, I'm like, okay, the 5 is 3-5. The 2, who doesn't look all that good, right? You're looking at this, and this horse is 3-1 on the Equinedge morning line. So that makes you re-look at the horse a lot closer, right? And the first thing you see is the horse still got third place with 11 other horses in its first start, going 7 furlongs, which is not an easy thing to do. And so, anyways, gets 111 pounds here today, saves ground on the inside. So I think the 2 could run a good race, but but anyways, you can find different metrics that might catch your eye where you have to do a double take and look. But I do think this race is all about the 5. All right, let's move on to Gulfstream Park race number 4. Again, we're covering the feeders right now. And this is part of the feeder. It's $18. And go to ntra.com to make sure you have an account, because if you don't and you end up getting an NHC berth, you won't be able to go because you have to be a member. So easy to do. All right, let's run this race here. They're going 5.5 on the synthetic. As you know, David, often you need to be at the top of the stretch within a couple of lengths in order to win these races usually.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's a good point, David. Yeah, Dave makes a good point. That was really close.
Good point. Yep.
Yeah. Anna's got me drinking these green shakes with who knows what is in these things.
I'm drinking green shakes, red shakes, mushroom shakes, all organic. And I don't know. I'm not growing any hair. I don't know if it's supposed to be good for your hair, my daughter says. I'm like, but it doesn't bother me. It's never going to help me.
Okay.
You'll be healthier. Handicap better when you're healthier.
That's absolutely right. Another thing too, it's so important to, when you're handicapping and you're sitting down, whether it's on your computer or your paper or whatever, to get up and walk, like to move. Like we get so sedentary sometimes, our us handicappers, and it's so bad for you. If you're on a plane, they say you need to get up and move. You don't want to just sit for 5 hours. It's the same thing. Believe me, I've watched some very close friends of mine. I watched their health deteriorate because they sat so much and didn't move. Make sure you get up and move. Keep that blood flow. Walk away from the computer. Walk away from your past performances as well.
Yes, I will also, I would totally agree with that. Someone who's worked remotely for like the last 10 or 12 years until my retirement to become a full-time horse player. Yeah, it's not good. Sometimes you're on conference calls over and over, you do not move. So, and I've had back issues in the past, and then I'm gaining weight because you're not having any exercise at all during the day. So I realized I got to get up and move around if I'm in the middle of a conference call. So if you see me disappear for 5 minutes, I'm going to walk around my perimeter of my property today. It's a beautiful day here in Western New York for a change. No humidity, 75 degrees. So you get some exercise a little later after the show.
Well, and you must be really looking forward to Saratoga as well.
Belmont at Saratoga. I am looking forward to that 4-day racing festival. We'll be there for Saturday for the stakes, but most like I'm trying to also get there on Friday. We'll see how it goes.
All right. So the system has the 2. Early on, the 1 is very fast. Both of these horses are horses to watch. It looks like the 2's 26% to win, and the 1 is 32% to win. Similar to what their win percentages are. Essentially, this horse to watch algorithm tells you which metrics these horses are at the top of. You can see the 1 is the top pace, top SOR, top GSR, top EE morning line, has a negative 11% chance, ROI chance or payout, and then in the money chance is 70%. And then on the 2 horse, 26% to win, which means that I think I want to say it's updated, but it's over the last year, I believe. We update it every 2 weeks right now. It's going to be real time soon. But based on horses that met this criteria, This is it. This is what percentage they win, what their ROI is, and what percentage they're in the money. The 2 horse is the top win percentage and top EE pick. The simulator has the 1 crushing, or the 2 crushing the 1. Super interesting to me. And the 2 super fast, and seems the 2 can rate a little bit. But if you're Reyes is a pretty aggressive jockey, but Zayas is aggressive as well. So Zayas is on the rail, advantage to the 2, but really advantage to whoever breaks the best, right?
Right. We're on the same page on this race. I look at the 1 horse, 3rd race off a layoff, a ton of speed, draws the rail, broke its maiden for 12.5 by 9 lengths, a wire-to-wire easy win. Stretched out to 5.5, and then had the lead and kind of tired late. So I think that I've been burnt so many times by trying to be a wise guy in these Tapeta races at Gulfstream, 5.5, figuring, oh, there's so much speed that there's got to be a pace meltdown. And inevitably, the horse either goes wire to wire, or the horse chasing, battles them. And so I've been burnt too many times. So the way I'm looking for the race is the 1 just to go wire to wire here with the 2 stalking. Now, the concern and the trouble you sometimes run into that line of thinking is knowing the 2 is going to be pressing. Now, is it possible that the 1 and the 2 get into a speed duel and they just burn each other out? Possibility, but because they're right alongside each other, and the 1's got a gun. And the concern I had with the 1 originally, Scotty, was the 2 times this horse tried 5.5, tired both times. Is this just a pure 5 furlong quarter horse type of horse? That's not going to get a distance. But I think because the rail and Zayas is going to gun, this horse will open up a clear lead and sail. I think, to me, the only thing I like in this race is I use the 1 on one ticket and the 2 on the other. So it's 1, 2, 2, 1 for me.
So the way I like to play races like this, I like to take one of the speed horses, just make a choice. And for me, it's so you're on the 1. Let me just put that on there. 1, 2, and for me, I like to choose just 1. So for me, I would take the 2 horse. That being said, there's a high likelihood that these horses are going to duel, and when they do, so what I like to do is I get rid of both of them, and then go to the first call, second call, and look to see who seems to be closing. And it looks like the 3, 4, or 7. So then I go over and I look at the metrics. Okay, well, the 3 is only 4%, but it is the long shot. The 4 is 7-2 Equinedge morning line. It's 14%. And the 7 is only 5-1 Equinedge morning line, and it's 10%. So I want to look at those. So most likely I'm going to throw out this 5. And I'm going to throw out the 6, who broke its maiden, gate to wire. It doesn't seem fast enough in this race with these horses. And the GSR is dropping from 62 to 50, and it's facing winners for the first time. Not likely. So I'm going to get rid of that. Okay. Now I'm going to handicap these 3 horses, and I look and I see this horse is facing similar. Win percentage is low. I mean, it ran a good race, but it was near the pace last time out. I don't think it's going to be near the pace. Do I think it can close? Well, look here. It did close here on the synthetic at Woodbine. So it looks like it can close. It only faced 5 other horses. I'm always somebody that looks at the field size. I think the 3 just looks okay. I look at the 4, and this horse is super interesting. Jaramillo, Carlos David. Jaramillo is an underrated jockey. You can come from behind. The workouts for the return seemed very good to me. They even had one on the turf course for this horse. I think this horse is doing really, really well. I think if the speed stops, that your winner is probably going to be the 4-horse Wisco Disco. So put the 1 and 2 back. It's got the system. The simulator has the 2 winning pretty good, but the 1 is very fast, and the 1 has to go. And so I think it might set it up for the 4. The only thing at the asterisk I'll throw in there is if I'm Reyes and I'm looking at this, and he's going to be, if Zayas is really aggressive early on, and he's going to be, then it's a possibility that Reyes gets outridden because Reyes is looking at this last race going, this horse has no problem rating. And if he lets the one go, then the one could be gone. So
correct.
I races between the 1, 2, and 4. That's what I think.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Scotty. Yeah, it's apparent that the 2 can rate a bit because the 2 has ran decent races rating. It actually won. She won on February 14th, rating second off a pace, and just got up pretty comfortably as the favorite. But so knowing that, Reyes might think, oh yeah, I can rate off this horse because this horse is track, can do that. This horse doesn't need to have the lead. Where the 1 to me is a pure speedball. If the 1 gets off slow and doesn't get the lead, the 1's done. Yeah. So in that case, that's why my top pick would be the 1 going wire to wire. That's how I envision the most likely scenario here. But like I said, it's all 1. I used the 2 as a backup and on my second ticket.
So I'm gonna do 2-4.
Okay.
Now let's get out to Belmont. We got 3 races there to cover. We're whizzing through this feeder. Okay, let's run the race here. We got a 6.5 sprint on the dirt, claiming $14,000. That one is a 3 lifetime for fillies and mares. Nice purse of $28,000 up at Belmont at the Big A. And first thing I'm noticing is it's some serious congestion. I find that races like this, the horse that has the best post or the jockey that's really aggressive and wins the race. Because anything can happen in this race. I do like this post of the 6, but sometimes when you look at the speed of this horse, the jockey could send and this horse, could be wide. So this is a really tough race. I'm going to defer to you in this one because you're the New York master. So let's get your thoughts on this.
Oh, the pressure's on. The pressure's on, my friend. Yeah, I looked at this race. I thought this race was rather competitive. Out of the what do we have, a 6-horse field? I think that basically 5 horses can win this race. The horse that I would throw out probably is the 2. So it's a challenging race, but so there's a lot of horses that they seem to be evenly matched, these fillies and mares. The horse that I'm focusing on, Scotty, is Rudy Rodriguez's horse. He's off to a really good start at the meet. He's having a good meet, both the winter and spring meets here, and that's the 3. Try It Again. Second race off a layoff, and it's not a long layoff. It was from February to May, which is fine. So I always like to give a horse 1 race. The thing is too that I like about this horse is now it cuts back. So we have second race off a layoff, cutting back from a mile. Mile's a good tune-up race for this race. That horse had the lead. She had the lead in that race. She will be stalking in this race. So I always like that. So and Gomez jumps back on. So that's my top horse here. And because of the layoff and the cutback. And then looking at for a second pick here, it's kind of a toss-up to me. So I went with Ray Handel's horse as my second pick, Maggie. The reason is this horse has encountered off tracks the last 4 starts. So I want to give this horse another try on a fast track. This horse was off a layoff on February 16th and ran against Try It Again, and Try It Again beat this horse. But off a layoff, I think Maggie may improve a little bit coming back on a fast track. So, Scotty, it's all 3-5 here for me. 3 my top pick, and 5 would be on my second ticket.
5. Dave agrees with you. Let's run this race one more time. It's really a straight line. We'll put the 6 at the top there. And the problem I have here, this all looks great that the 6 is clear, not in between horses, but If the 5 goes like it looks like it's going to, then that could, put the 6 out way wide. That could be a problem. Um, or maybe you have to look at such little factors like the 5 is really not that great of a breaker either, which is good for the 6, and the 6 is a good breaker. So if that could really help the 6 horse in this contest, because but if you also look, here's the thing, you don't see this very often, except in like very top races where there's 12 or 20 horses like the Derby. But look at the win percentages. I don't think I've ever seen win percentages so even. Have you? Like, look at that.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, it's a very evenly matched race.
right. And so you're really, now you become a trip handicapper. That's what you should do anyways, is you're looking to go, how is this going to play out? And then you commit. That's all you can do. And the one at the rail is most likely not going to get a good trip. And if you look, it barely beat a 44 group. Today's a 50 group. So the 1 would not be my play. The 2 beat a 48 group. Actually, I know you said you don't love this horse, and this horse barely got by the condition. It was a non-winners of 2 lifetime condition forever. So the chance of that horse getting by this condition are not great, but it does have a decent style if they all go dueling at the beginning and the horse just saves ground on the inside possibly. So I'm not opposed to this 2 horse running a good race. This horse has not been at this non-winners of 3 that long. You're right. I mean, this 3 horse tried again, has speed. I think my concern with this horse, and I don't know if you agree, is that it seems to really need to be like on the lead, but there's other speed to the outside of this horse that's very fast as well. So it's not like the jockey's going to take this horse back and make a run. So what kind of trip does the 3 get? So
yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah. And this horse took the lead in a mile race, right? So I like that conditioner. The horse showed a little speed and then kind of got tired, but that's justifiable off the short layoff. And I don't believe this horse had tried a mile before. So yeah, I like the cutback, and this horse will be stalking to me. I don't believe, and again, there's no pronounced clear speed. I know the 1 has the highest pace factor of a 66, but I mean, you got that rail break. So yeah, this is a tough race. It's competitive, and again, a trip will probably win it. Whoever gets the right trip. So I'm going to have I'll have faith in Jose Gomez here to give me a good trip.
And I'm looking at Take Time to Dream, the 4 horse. Carlos David is 29% with first time out claims. This horse is won easily 2 of the last 3 races. This horse was not really meant to do anything in this race at 10%, 2 back against a 54 SOR group. This horse has every right to run a good race. And of course, the 6 horse looks to get a good trip. These are a little bit tougher than what it's faced. I think I'm going to go with the 4 horse and over the 6. So we're going to go.
4 is a definite contender. Yep. Mm-hmm. I can see it.
Yep. Okay. On to race number 3 at Belmont. We'll run this race. They're going 7/8 of it distance. And we'll put the 6 on the top. So it looks like the one's going to send, I would imagine, and can probably get the lead. But it's not that much faster than the other horses. And again, you have the 6 horse who's got the 3rd top win percentage. Here comes the 3, whose GSR is going up, by the way, too. Okay, so let's look closer. So it's going from a 57 GSR to a 68. This horse lost the rider last time out and stumbled. Still protected. Was claimed for $80,000. Wow. I mean, what do you think of a horse like this? When you see, the horse drops the jockey and all that, does that concern you to bet that horse next time out?
A jockey drop doesn't as much as being eased or just totally out of the race. Yeah, I mean, she's done this. She did this last year, Linda, claiming horses from Keeneland and Churchill in anticipation of the Saratoga meet. And she did very well with some of these Kentucky claimers. So I think this horse just looks real solid here. I mean, claimed for 80,000, off a win, came back at 6.5 furlongs and bet at 3 to 5, right? And hey, what are you going to do? That's horse racing. Stumble start, Cormouche goes down, race is over. Again, it's this. So when I see something like that, Scotty, I'm looking, is this really a trouble horse that has problems getting out of the gate? Is maybe a bad behavior in the gate? And I see no, looking back at the PPs, I see no history of this horse ever having any other problems. So in that case, I think the 3 is a solid play. I don't know how you play against the 3, but with that being said, I'm always looking for a little value. So on my 2 feeder tickets, I'm using the 3 as my primary. And I think the only other possible scenario here is I have concern that the 3 doesn't have much speed at all. And the 1 that gives the 1 with Irad on board a chance to go wire to wire with the 1 Irish Jackson. Now, Irad's normally not the type of jock who wants to gun out and get a 5-length lead. But in this case, from the rail going 7, this horse has no other choice but to go out and grab the lead, in my opinion. So it's 3 on my main ticket and 1 as my backup. 3-1 here.
One of the things I don't like about the 1, first of all, I don't like this rail position, and there's a lot of speed in here. The 3 is fast enough to be in contention early, so I don't think that's an issue for you. And this horse was losing ground, was 4 lengths ahead, and had to hold on against a 48 group at 56%. Now is 21%. Draws the inside. I don't think that's a favorable position personally. The 3 horse, if I look at this 3 horse, I like the GSR going up. This is the horse to beat for sure. But this horse is going to probably go off at 3 to 5 or 4 to 5. Maybe there's another horse in here. I'm looking. Barrera off the claim is 14%. First race back 4%. The 2 doesn't really do much for me. I'm really looking at the 5 or the 6. The 5, the Equinedge long shot. I mean, certainly this horse deserves a look. The GSR is going up. Win percentage drops a little bit, facing a little bit easier. But it doesn't look like this guy likes to burn money. It's burn money at big percentages. But it just doesn't it seem like these horses seem to win in these situations, and when they're supposed to win, they don't. I would give the 5 a look, and then the 6 horse is going to get a good trip from the outside. 1 against a little bit tougher last time out for Sharp. First off the claim for $30,000, and he's not dropping this horse. He continues to keep this horse in a similar company. Draws an outside post. Win percentage does drop because you have the 3 horse in there, so it doesn't scare me that much, because if the 3 isn't as good as it looks, then maybe it's the 6 horse, the top 2 Equinedge picks. I like the Equinedge picks, 3, 6, 5. I don't know which one's going to win, which one gets the trip. I do kind of like the 6 horse, but the 6 is going to probably be the second choice. I'm going to take a risk, and I'm going to take the 5 horse over the 6.
The 5 horse Roman Goddess?
Yes. For strategic purposes, right? The 3 is the horse to beat, but I think the 6 gets a really good trip. If you do get 3 or 4 to 1 on the 6 horse, if I had 2 entries in here, I would use the 6 on one, the 5 on other. I don't see the purpose of using the 3 horse really, because it's going to go off at live odds, and it could win by 10 or it could lose by 10. That's the type of horse this looks like to me.
Right. I agree with you with the 3, but Linda Rice is just having such a fantastic meet that, especially recently, she's really stepped it up. She got off to kind of a slow start. But the only concern, I did look at the 6, Scotty. The concern, this horse is definitely a big contender, but the concern I have is the voided claim on April 11th. I'm sorry. And Naira doesn't tell you why the claim was voided. So
yeah, I hate that. I'm with you.
Yeah. So that kind of gives me a little reluctance to use any horse of a voided claim. And I will also tell you that I tried to make a case for the 2 Divine Cross. because I did make a winning wager on this horse when David Jacobson had him.
Yeah.
Had her, I'm sorry. But then the more that I off the claim for Oscar Barrera, this horse also had beaten the one Irish Jackson back on November 30th off a layoff by a head. So I'm like, well, how can I pick the one if the two's already beaten the one? And then I just think Oscar Barrera's barn has been so cold that I just can't justify off the claim. You got to show me that the barn is just not, when a barn is this ice cold, even though I may like the horse, I'm going to avoid it. You got to show me that the barn can win. Obviously Oscar Barrera's barn can win, but it's like any other barn. It's a streaky game, right? Yeah. So sometimes they get on a bad roll, and it's just not there. So that's why I throw the 6 and the 2 out of my picks.
All right. So 3-1 for you, 5-6. All right. One more race we have for the feeder. As we talked about earlier, off the turf, they're going 10 furlongs. There's 4 horses. We have 2 horses to watch. One of them here is Jitterbug, who is the top SOR, top GSR, top EE morning line, EE long shot. The GSR is going up from a 69 to an 81. I forget. I made a play yesterday. I think it was the last race at Gulfstream Park. And I think, you know what, I'm going to go back to it real quick, because I do think that it's relative as to what you want to look for. So I think it's a good teaching moment here. And that is, I hope this is it. No, this isn't it. I did play this horse yesterday, by the way. I really liked Modica. But there was God, I wish I could remember it, because it was so good. But it basically is that, trying to remember what it was. Was it at Belmont? There was a horse that had such a high GSR compared to the rest of them, and it only had raced one time. And I normally don't play horses that break their maidens and then go on to face winners. But the rest of them, there was some good veterans in there. But this horse was obviously won easily breaking its maiden, and its GSRs were like 25 points higher than the next. And so in that situation, you're talking about a different class of animal in comparisons to some of the veterans. And the horse ended up going off at, I think, 1 or 2 to 5, I think, and winning easily. But so you want to watch for stuff like that. That's not the case here, because there's some pretty nicely bred horses here. You can see with the GSR plus tabs, the 5-horse Jitterbug has a 75 on the tab, 81. So this horse, you can see the distances. The horse wants to go long. And if we look here, same thing here with the 4, very nicely. And then you look here. And yes, this horse wants to go long, but it is a little bit lacking in the GSRs. And then the 9-horse here certainly looks to have a look as the top Equinedge pick. But let's run the race. This is a 10 furlong race on the dirt, completely changed from the turf. Why did they take the races off the turf? Isn't it kind of sunny over there?
No, they had a line of thunderstorms that moved through Manhattan yesterday in New York City. So, so they must have got deluge early. And there's a lot of turf races, Scotty, scheduled for this weekend. And I believe there's a chance of rain on Monday. So, taking this race off the turf makes it just like a guessing game. Really, if I was if I was playing horizontal wagers, I'd probably use all 4 here, because I mean, who's going to like the distance, right? You go with the GSR. Who's going to like the 1.25 miles of the 10 furlongs? It's kind of a guessing game. Obviously, usually when you have a off the turf race, and then you have a main track only, that's the favorite. That horse is most likely going to be the favorite. Linda Rice entered this horse hoping that it would come off turf. Not going to run on dirt. I mean, on turf, only dirt. So it's hard to really say you're going to leave this horse out. But the issue I have with the 9, where I try to beat the 9 here, is the 7 starts and 5 seconds and 1/3. This horse has had opportunity, especially on April 5th, 1 1/8 miles. Couldn't hold on at 1 1/8 miles of a rather slow pace. So I'm not sure this horse really wants to go 1.25 miles. And then you're like, well, who does? I mean, I think the 5 Jitterbug is bred for the distance. As a matter of fact, if this race was on the turf, I was using the 2 Clement horses, Jitterbug and Missoula, with Missoula looking like the lone speed. And just for your listeners and who's listened to me in the past on this show and also the Saturday show last week, I'm going to try to beat the Christopher Clement jinx today. If you know, I just seems like every time I pick a Clement horse, they never win. And when I leave him out, they always win. And he's got a really good percentage. So I don't want to jinx him, but so I don't want to ruin his meet. But I think I'm going to use Jitterbug as my top pick here. Just it's mostly a guess on the breeding. I love this horse. If it was turf, first time turf, off a synthetic prep. I believe this horse is going to like the distance better than most of the horses in this race. So that's why I'm using the 5. But also going to give a look. And I just something maybe it's a gut feeling, but I think the 7 Wake Up Lauren could be the best distance horse in here. This is a Malibu Moon out of an AP Indy. Stretched out to 1 1/8 on February 18th in the same race that Just Music was in and was bet down to around 10-1. Ran an even 4th, off a layoff. Used to be trained by Dutrow, now picked up by Mike Maker. Of course, Maker move is to move these horses to the turf and ran another 4th. Not a bad race, 17-1. Had blinkers and Lasix on for the first time. I just have a feeling this horse may be the one who wants the distance most. So for me, Scotty, did we lose you?
No, I don't know if we lost me or you. You're cutting out in and out a little bit.
Do you hear me now?
Yeah, that was better.
Okay, all right. So it's 5 Jitterbug on 1 ticket, and my backup on the other would be 7 Wake Up Lauren. I just think this horse may, again, it's a guess that this horse is going to like the 1.25 miles. Doesn't have a lot of speed, but I don't know how the pace develops here, to be honest with you. So 5-7.
5-7. All right. And for me, I'm on the 5 as well. I can't get by the 6-5 on the Equinedge morning line and the horse to watch. When I look at this horse, there's nothing suggests this horse should be 6-5. So the fact that the EE morning line says that this horse is going to go off at 6-5, I think speaks volumes. So I'm going to stick with the 5. And I think I can't really separate the 4 and the 9, to be honest with you. I think the 4 run a better race. I don't think the 4 can win the race. I don't like the 0 for 12 jockey trainer combination on past tense with Dutrow and Carmouche. The 9 horse Just Music is probably going to take the lead. We've never really seen a race where that horse actually got an easy lead. I think it truly wants the distance. It's got a really good GSR. You can see. So I'll just go with the 5-9 against. I don't love anything in here, but I'll say 5-9.
Okay.
And let's see here. What do we have? Okay, so that's it for the feeder races. Race number 1 at Gulfstream Park is coming up. What we're gonna do is we're just gonna hit up immediately the qualifier. So let's just start going to the qualifying races. So here they are. You can see the first leg is Pimlico 7, then Gulfstream 6, and Pimlico 8, then Gulfstream 7. You can see it's all right there. And so I think we just start over at Pimlico race number 7. You game?
That sounds good to me, Scotty.
Okay. And maybe we'll watch, maybe we'll throw in a racer here or two. We've got Gulfstream Park coming up in 10 minutes from now. We've got Laurel Park coming up here shortly. Or that's Pimlico. I'm sorry. Pimlico. And got thrown off by the colors. Sorry. And then, there's Jeff Bratt talking about Woodbine, which is coming up in 26 minutes from now. But all right. So Pimlico race number 7. I need your help on this one, honestly. Like this is I thought this race was tough. I kind of have an opinion. I'm going to run the race. I need you to tell me whether this 5-horse is going to go gate to wire or not. That's what I want to know. Like, it certainly looks like it, but the class of the race is this uncaptured storm, the 2, and it comes flying at the end. But I struggled with this race. I literally was on this race for a half hour. I can't, when that happens, you just have to walk away and come back to it. But you can see here comes the 2-horse uncaptured storm, who's won 3 straight races. And here comes the finish line, and it's there it is. Let's take a look at the 5, Cloud Music. Got claimed off of Nest by Gorman for $8,000 and protected by Gorman, who's 14% first off the claim. The horse has been winning easily. Now, so important to note that these types of horses, like you can see, this is a front runner. If this horse does not get the lead, it doesn't win. But it certainly looks, based on the pace number and the simulated race, that this horse gets the lead, David.
Yeah, likely that this horse does get the lead. My question is, that's all well and good, but this horse raced as cheap as $5,000 claimer at Penn National on February 21st. And that horse went off at 4-5. So I don't think there was a lot of competition there. And then the race at Laurel off the layoff, this horse went quite slow, never challenged on the front end. I believe it was 25-3 the first quarter, 50-3 the half. So this horse got a nice, easy paced race. I don't think this horse gets a scenario here. There'll be some other horses challenging, I think. Yeah, I looked at the 2, and how do you knock a horse who's won 3 in a row? Okay, especially one over the tracks. But he does need a pace up front. And usually when I see a horse who's won 3 in a row, how many times does a horse win and come back and win the 4th in a row?
I know.
With that being said, I struggle with this race also, and it's pretty typical of me with Pimlico. So I looked for another angle here. Like, hey, can we get, when I see a horse that I like is 8-5, and I'm like, okay, let me look into it further. I originally looked at Chivalry, the 7-year-old gelding, claimed by Lacey Godet, but I know Chivalry, and I believe that Chivalry, every time I bet him in the past at Gulfstream, I always thought Chivalry was a sprinter, right? So then I looked in at Laurel at 1 1/16 on March 17th. This horse almost won at 1 1/16. With that being said, I can't get out of my mind this horse may be better off sprinting and doesn't want to go this distance. So I came up and with Brilliant Chase as my alternate. This horse drops down from a 15,000 claimer at Parks to 12.5. Never has run on the Pimlico surface. Had a nice second at Parks on a sloppy track. Has run on the turf before. This horse has won 7 races lifetime. Has won 2 races at a distance. So this is the horse my other horse that I use. So for me, it was the 2 is in just such good form. I can't leave him out. So I think it would be 2 Uncaptured Storm on my primary ticket and number 4 Brilliant Chase on my secondary ticket.
Okay. Yeah, I guess it's not going to get any better for me because I spent so much time on this race, and I didn't know what to do with the 4, first of all, because this horse was claimed for $16,000. I mean, that the form of this horse is just so, seems so bad, but it got 4th in this race. So it maybe is not as bad as it appears to be. And you can see this horse, what it did against the 58 group back on 11:27 last year. So it's not like if this horse puts it all together that it can't run good. The purse is good. So, I can understand the horse being in this position. None of these horses really are big time winners. I will tell you this though, except for the 5 horse here, and the 2. I like to take horses that I don't like proven losers like the 4 and the 3. I mean, it's just why this horse is so popular. The 3 Chivalry at the claim box is mind-boggling to me. It's won 5 races and 41 races. I don't get it. It seemed to have some past class because it's earned $580,000. So even for 41 races, that's a lot of money. So I have to go with the horse that's got the great form. The win percentage goes up for the 2. I mean, look at none of these races with this horse really that well meant, and it keeps on winning. It's going to be the favorite in this race. I'm on the 2, and I can't. The reason why I will tell you this, and I won't go and drag this on. 5 wins in 16 races for the 5. It clearly needs the lead, but it does have some back class. And the form of the horse is really good and confident. And the horse is being protected. And I'm not worried about the win percentage really because it's such a competitive race on paper that I'm sure the system had a rough time. But this horse absolutely has every chance of going gate to wire. So I think I've answered my question. I'm going to do the 2 on one and the 5 on the other. So 5. Yep, 5-2.
Okay, and it's 4-2 for me, Scotty. And I just wanted to speak about Chivalry again.
Yeah,
it's hard for me to resist Chivalry because I really like Lacey Godet off the claim. It was a success for me on Silver Sunday day at the NHC. But this horse, the last 2 races, with that being said, that I think this horse is, when I envision Chivalry, I think of a sprinter, right? This horse has never won at the distance, but that neck loss on March 17th does intrigue me. This and Godet claiming this horse back, like they want this horse. I mean, it may be sentimental, who knows? But yeah, I mean, that's the horse that's probably going to beat me. But I just can't get over when you have something ingrained in your mind that Chivalry is a better sprinter than a distance horse. But I mean, then you're looking at an $8,000 claimer. I mean, if a sprinter who was running this horse ran in a Travers back in 2020, right? Chivalry. Yeah. So I mean, now this is the bottom of the barrel. Maybe that mind, that thought of mine that this horse is a sprinter doesn't apply when you dump this horse down to a $6,000 claimer, right? So we'll see. When Chivalry ends up winning by 5 lengths, and I'll be, right? Kicking myself, but you got to go with your gut sometimes. When Chivalry has the lead and dies at the end, and somebody catches him, I'll be like, yeah, I knew he wasn't a distance horse. He's a sprinter.
Yeah. Well, you have to make a call, and when I look at Chivalry, I have mixed feelings. It's 5-1 in the Equinedge morning line. Why put that jockey for Godet? I don't understand why you put this jockey 0-2. It makes no sense. And we need to move on to the next race. I will say this: we'd be remiss if we didn't talk about the 7 horse. The jockey trainer combination with Lopez and Capuano are 42%. So I can't see it. Has multiple layoff lines. But if you're going to get a price in here and you're trying to beat the favorites, because the 2 is going to probably be 8-5, 9-5, could it be Golden Gully, the 7 horse? And
this horse has won 3 races at the distance, so there's an angle for you, right? Off a layoff, I don't like it off a layoff, but this horse won off a layoff last year from December 22nd to April 1st, and came back on muddy track and won at 11-1. So this horse is proven at the distance, and some of the other horses here haven't proven themselves. And the one I point out, Chivalry hasn't proven it can win, even though the neck loss is probably a really good race, just as effective as a win. So yeah, no, 7's got a shot.
Right. I mean, for sure. So it's something you just have to consider. Can we afford to have a horse go off at 6 to 9-1 and beat us though? Would you, and shouldn't you play defensively possibly and use a horse like the 7 or use a horse like the 5 Cloud Music? Like instead of taking Uncaptured Storm, because if you do lose, if the 7 does win, or if the 5 goes off at 5 or 6-1 and does win, it hurts your chances. Like
absolutely,
you know what I mean? Sometimes you have to play defensively.
Exactly, and that's if this was a mandatory NHC race, Yeah, this would be an interesting one because, and again, it depends where you are. That's the thing, right? If it's the first day, I mean, I may go with the 7 or the 5, figuring, okay, let me try to break apart from the field and be in the, make the cut line, at least be in that line day one rather than use a favorite. Yeah, I mean, if you're in a good position and you need, yeah, it depends. To me, it depends on the day and where you are as far as the overall leaderboard. So
I'm changing up
interesting.
on this, by the way. I'm going to use the 7 horse on one ticket and the 5 on the other. All right, let's get out to Gulfstream Park race number 6. We've got an $8,000 non-win is a 2 lifetime. These are often crazy races that yield big prices, David. Let's take a look at the race as it looks like the 4 horse is probably going to take the lead early, but is only 6-1 on the Equinedge morning line. What are your thoughts in here?
Yeah, let's see how the race simulator goes because, I'm on the same page with you. I'm hoping for a decent price in this race because that's who I have on top. But let's see how this simulator goes because.
So it's got the 8 horse who's 8-5 on the Equinedge morning line, 29%. Top Equinedge pick, winning the race. Let's take a closer look and delve into the handy view. This horse was 32% last time out against a 44 group, or two races ago, 30% last time out, and had the 8 post last time out, by the way, had the 7 post. Look at this. This horse has had outside posts in the last 4 races with no wins. Oof, man. Can we use a horse like this?
Yeah, I mean, Carlos David's barn is just doing so well at this meet. Takes blinkers off, but 1 for 14, 1 for 10 on the Tapeta. So this is a race I'm going to look for a little value, but to me, 8 is a likely winner. But I can't resist myself. I can't resist looking for a price here. And the horse that I kind of focused on, Scotty, is the bonus horse. He's having a really good meet, 38%. So let's take I want to take a look at this horse. So this horse, his first race was at Tampa on a good track, 5.5 furlongs, and on a maiden claimer, and actually closed and was the favorite. That was a good race. Won at 5.5, and then after that, this horse's form seemed to go downhill. Stretched out to 6.5, finished a 3rd, and then the horse just seemed to go off form. Basically having speed and it is dying. Just packing it in totally. A $20,000 claimer, a $16,000 claimer, dropped down to an 8,000, non-winners at 2, and just finished 40 lengths off the pace. Now that was a rapid pace. It looks like at that 7 furlong race, but that horse was bet with blinkers on. Now this horse comes back to the distance of 5.5 furlongs. Never raced on a Tapeta. I've been burnt so many times by horses just getting away on a Tapeta track, just airing. You got Lionel Reyes up with the mount. This horse had a really nice workout on May 11th, and I'm going to take a chance that this horse, Reyes is going to get this horse flying out of the gate, get a good position. This horse has shown it can handle 5.5 furlongs. Maybe this horse is just a pure sprinter, didn't want to even go any step over 5.5. So I'm going to give a shot with the 3 misprint. And it's too good to resist another long shot here. And that would be the drop down R Firebird. That's the EE long shot. So, Scotty, it's 3-2 here for me at 6-day Gulfstream.
So you actually think that they added blinkers last time out, which it didn't do anything, and this horse's only win, it came from behind to win easy. So you're thinking this horse is actually going to get the lead?
Yeah, I think that based on that workout on May 11th and the speed and the blinkers on, this horse showed speed at 7, and I just think that this horse getting on a Tapeta might be the right remedy for this horse. So I think this might be a good spot for this, and it's part of a guessing game. but because this horse has a really solid work on at Tapeta, I'm thinking this horse may love the Tapeta. So that's my shot here. And also the 2 has never tried Tapeta 2. So I'm taking a little bit of a risk here, but I'm looking for value. So this is my value race. So it's 3-2.
I think you're going to take a risk. It's a race like this in a race where the favorite is burned money. So I'm just I don't know that the horse gets the lead, but I don't know that it has to get the lead. I think what you could be right based on that workout and that 3-star is that by Bruno, but that this horse maybe this horse is really going to like the synthetic. And so from that perspective, I don't blame you for taking a chance in this race. Under no circumstances would I use this 8 horse. So who are you going to use in here? Who are your top 2 picks?
It's 3 on 1. 3 would be my primary choice, Scotty, and the 2 would be my backup or Firebird.
3-2. Okay, so 3-2 for David.
And I just think the DeBona, Scotty, I'm sorry, the DeBona barn. I mean, they're crap. They're a really sneaky barn when they have these pros. And if you just look at his record at this meet, so I'm on board. I'm on board with the DeBonas in this race.
Yeah, I mean, this is just an absolute grab bag. If I throw out the 8 horse, you can see it's got a wall of them right here. I'm going back from the stretch all the way to the finish and seeing who's closing. Kozem is an interesting one closing, but I don't love horses like this. I mean, this horse did win easy, but it broke its maiden. And then you have to look at every race and kind of see the story of the horse. I love to, when I have time, which isn't always, I like to see the story of a horse. Here's an example. First of all, we both know, I know this tells me that I'm not going to trust the simulated race in any way in this race. And usually I can. And watch, I'm sure I'm going to put this horse in the damn winner's circle. This horse broke its maiden against a 32 SOR group. Not easily. It was not an easy win either. And now it's going up against a 46 group. As it is, breaking your maiden and going against winners for the first time just doesn't happen very often. I'm 100% not liking the picks. The GSR, I don't like that the GSR drops in the 2 horse, but it is the Equinedge second pick. I'm going to have to maybe I'm going to trust the Equinedge morning line a little bit, saying that the 4 horse taking it all is 6-1. It's 16%. Now this horse just broke its maiden as well. It looks to need the lead for its best. And there does seem to be a wall of speed in here as well. So I think I'm gonna take a risk on a horse like maybe the 9, but man, this 9 has burned some money too. But it faced better horses last time out. I'm struggling a little bit in this race. What about a horse like the 1 horse, David? I mean, this horse could save some ground from the inside. 5.5 furlongs, GSR goes up. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised by a win here.
No. And this is the money bag horse, right? I did take a look at this horse. This horse drops basically since it dropped down to an $8,000 claimer. I mean, it's run pretty evenly. Ran a second at this level back on February 29th and then even 5th. This horse would need some kind of a little bit of a pace meltdown, but could get the right trip. This horse could be dangerous. And then I'm thinking with the 4 would definitely have the lead, right? Taking it all. But I think this horse, the 4, why I'm not using the 4 is that this horse to me may be a pure 5 furlong sprinter.
Yeah. Something tells me who's going to get the lead in here. Whoever really sends and gets the lead, because it doesn't look like anybody's really closing. I mean, could we see maybe it's the 4?
Right. I think the 4 will have the lead. I think the 3 will be right there. The 1 will have speed. But again, could there be a pace meltdown? But as with the other 5.5 furlong race we spoke about earlier, I've been burnt too many times with horses just going wire to wire on the Tapeta tracks. I'm like, I knew this horse is the speed of the speed, and I'm always hoping for a pace meltdown. So I've been burnt recently on Tapeta, so I'm hoping the 3 is going to stay close to the pace.
I think I'm just going to look for a horse that maybe is going to come from behind and go for a price. I think that is probably going to be my best option. I just think that a lot of these, there's going to be a lot of horses on the front. they're going to be going. Honestly, on paper, though, and you said this earlier, the horse to beat is the 8 horse. The problem is this horse has burned so much money. How do you use this 8?
Yeah, again, with a race that is only a 5.5 furlong to Peter race, blinkers off. They're trying something with this horse that, trying to get this horse home. But I mean, Carlos David's barn is doing so well. I mean, this horse wouldn't surprise me. Obviously, as one is the favorite, but
yeah.
I'm looking.
Yeah, I'm stalling a little bit. I'm sorry, everybody. I'm like really struggling. I want to make sure because you have to play defensively here. You can no way use the 8 horse. If you're playing 2 entries, you've got to take a couple of long shots you think have a chance, because if you get beat by a 12, 15, 20 to 1 shot in here, you're going to be in big trouble. And it's going to pretty much take you out of the tournament. And so, but here's the other struggle for sure, David, is that horses that have the lead here going 5.5 are usually the ones that win. But I don't think you can afford to come from too far back. So I'd imagine, the 6 horse at 1% probably is not likely. We could probably throw that out. 5 horse is pretty far back. I mean, in this contest here, I mean, I don't think I could use the 5. I'm going to throw out the 8. I'm just going to try to beat the favorite. I don't think that is even. The horse that keeps coming back to me, it's the 1, 7, or 9, but I can't. It's hard for me to take this 7 because of that 32 GSR or SOR. It's just really hard. I think I'm going to have to take a risk at the easier competition that this horse is facing. The 9 is 40%. I think I'm going to take a chance on the 9. On both my entries, I'm just going to put the 9.
Okay, looking for a long shot. Okay.
Yeah. You know what? I take that back. I'm gonna do 1 and 9. 1, 9. I'm going for prices on both of those. All right, let's get to Pimlico race number 8. We spent too much time on that race. Okay, Pimlico race number 8. Yeah. Just to answer, I appreciate you helping Tyson. The simulator race is in beta. Believe me, it looks all great right now, but there's a lot of bugs, and I can't release this yet. But you guys will have it. There will be no charge on it. Every package, day passes, everything will be the simulator will be part of that. Excuse me. And then yes, we have Bruno's workout reports. Bruno's workout reports are only on yearlies and unlimited monthlies, and that's because it's not free to us. So that had to be something that we had to make sure we're at some of the bigger packages. So I hope that answers some of your questions. But yeah, the simulator race will be part of subscription packages, day passes, everything. It's going to really change the way people handicap. I believe that, David, in horse racing. It's even for people like using Equinedge compared to traditional past performances, you can't go back. Well, I can tell you, using the simulator in comparison to just using Equinedge now, you can't go back. You don't necessarily just use what it says, but it gives you a visual of how the race might play out, and that becomes tremendous for you. It just absolutely does. It really does. Here's why I do it. I'm not trying to even tease. Well, that's not entirely true. In the beginning, I wanted to tease the product a little bit, but none of us, now that Oldie has it, and Chris has it, Justin has it, Alfredo has it, none of us can handicap without it anymore. We feel naked without it, honestly. Like it's really neat.
It's a excellent feature, and I can't wait till it's available to all the subscribers.
Yeah,
very helpful.
Me too. By the way, too, I will say this. I don't talk about pricing often, but I'm glad you bought the annual pass. If you love AEE, like a lot of us do, buying the annual pass, if you can afford it, makes total sense. You're saving a ton of money per month, right? It saves you like $400 a year by buying the annual pass. Just something to think about. Okay. Let's see here. Let's run this race. Pimlico race number 8. This is the 3rd leg. There's a lot of horses in here. I need to throw out some horses first. Let me throw out this 9 so you guys can see it all on the screen. Okay, here we go. Play the race. Wow, I didn't see this. I mean, look at the 6 horse now. There's been 2 scratches, but the 6 was 10-1 on the odds makers morning line. The 6 is 2-1 on the Equinedge morning line. It's the long shot. It's 37% to win. I don't even need to look at anything else. I want your opinion. I can tell you that I'm using the 6 on both of them.
Yeah, before the scratches, Scotty, I handicapped this race, and I have the 2 horses. 6 is the one I prefer on top. Second race off a layoff. This horse, it just seems to be, I like the move. This horse could be rounding into form. And there's not a lot here. The only other horse that I was concerned about, that wasn't a late scratch. Now, the thing is, originally handicapped this race thinking I'd get around 10-1, right? So now with the scratches, it doesn't make it as desirable to me because I'm looking for prices. But so I'll go to the other horse too, and that's the 4 KBC later. Second race off a layoff. You can, I think, toss the sloppy track. This horse, second, it was only his second start on a sloppy track. Didn't win the first time. Drops down to 16, which also the 6 does drop from 20 to 16. And with the scratches, I was looking for value. I didn't want the post-time favorite. As the post-time favorite's still in there, right? The 8 Switzer. I'll beat that horse. This horse ran in the same race with KBC later, and actually KBC later finished ahead, but that really doesn't, that's immaterial. But I'd be looking for the price on the 4 rather than the 8. So for me, it's 6 on my first ticket as the primary and 4 KBCU later on the backup ticket.
Let me try to explain real quickly why the 8 horse in my mind is not a good play. We know it won going 5.5 furlongs on 8-3. You can see that, but it barely won. Okay, against 8 horses. There's a lot more horses. It's a lot more competitive, and the GSR drops to 63. Then you look at this race here on 11-17. It faced a 58 group, no doubt about it. But look where it was at the stretch. It's not a good breaker. And in the stretch, so at 5 furlongs, which is today's distance, that horse would have been 6 lengths back. This is not a good bet. And it's 5-1 on the Equinedge morning line. I don't care if it wins. Everything would have to be perfect. There'd have to be a pace meltdown for this 8 horse to win this race.
Right. I agree. And again, this race is remaining on the turf, correct? Okay, just wanted to make sure. And that's why that you can throw that race that was carded on May 5th was originally for the turf, and that was taken off. So KBCU later, I think, prefers the turf course. So that's why I would use that 4 horse. I would use KBCU later over the 8, and the 6 Park Place ran a decent race and just missed winning at Colonial Downs August 31st at 5.5 furlongs. And that's a solid race. So if that horse runs back to that race, should be a good thing here.
4 is always there, but it looks like it needs the lead for its best to me. And the 6 is getting the lead. I mean, the 6 is just super fast. It's classy. The GSR does drop a little bit. It does drop a little bit, but on the turf course here, I think this horse will be okay. It did run one time going 5.5 furlongs and actually rated some and almost won that race against similar. So I'm not going to really worry about that. And then one of the reasons, not only do I like the assets of the 6 horse Park Place, but when I look at the main competition, like the 4 horse who seems to need the lead for its best, like the 8 horse who might need more distance, and then I look at the rest of them and they're nothing. That's where you find a key horse for me, and I think the 6 is a key horse for me. It's an easy decision. If he breaks good, I think the horse wins the race. So I'm going to say 6 for me. I'm going to say 6-4 You like 4-6?
6-4.
You like 6-4? Okay.
Yeah, we're on the same page.
Okay.
Oh, we're in trouble, Scotty.
All
We
right.
agree on the first two picks, so
Yeah.
see
Okay.
that.
So want to make sure Gulfstream Park. Okay. So coming up in about 12 minutes from now for the feeder race number 2. Okay. So and they are on the track over at Pimlico for race number 3. That's coming up in 7 minutes. It looks like in race number 1 at Woodbine, the 5 came in 5:14. Okay, so next race. Okay, I got my plays in. I got the 6. Okay, so now we're in GP race number 7, David.
Gulfstream Park, race number 7. Let me just pull up my notes here. You're gonna run the simulator and let's see who they have on the lead.
All right, so let's run this race 1.70 miles. Now, just the opposite in these races. You see, I tell you what, I see way more closers going this distance on the synthetic, winning these races. The really good horses, yeah, they can go gate to wire for sure. You definitely see it, but I would say the synthetic seems to be pretty fair when you're going 2 turns on this synthetic course.
I agree, and I know you probably study Gulfstream more than I have, but recently, because now I've been spending a lot more time in the winters at Gulfstream, I'm getting more in tune with the trend of the Tapeta track, and I will acknowledge I'm not a huge fan of Tapeta, but I mean it's going to be in contests, so I'm going to have to deal with it. So I'm trying to get more acclimated to the form there. And I agree with Scotty. If the only time I've seen at a distance the Tapeta track be speed favoring was when it's wet, when it's raining and they take the races off the turf. Sometimes you just get a speed bias on that track that you can't catch the leaders turning for home. With that being said, I'm focusing here on a closer. I don't mind the outside post on the Tapeta as long as it's playing fairly. This horse has absolutely no speed, but that doesn't bother me. I think I've seen many horses do very well with an outside post there, going 2 turns when there wasn't a lot of speed in the race. Just seems to be pretty advantageous. This horse has only had 5 starts, has possibly some room for upside. At the last race on the Tapeta, finished a solid second with Irad Ortiz. Irad Ortiz is now out of Florida, so Jaramillo picks up the mount, which I like. Like the outside post. Barboza's barn is on fire in this meet, and this horse has won at the distance, broke its maiden here over the course. So it's all 11 for me. The other horse that I had a look at was a horse that was scratched, Confer. I don't know who I would use as my backup, but I do think the one horse Must Have Been Love may have the lead for a while, but Kathleen O'Connell's barn is so cold that I can't go with that. So if I have 2 tickets, I'm going to use the 11 on both. Barra. So it's all 11 for me here.
All 11. So we don't have swag for sale yet. When we did at the NHC, we bought like 5 coffee mugs is what we did. And then, oh man, I owe somebody a hat too. I'm so bad. It's just so hard to send it out. But I had promised one person that I was gonna give them a hat, and I didn't send it out. I'm so bad. But we have like 6 hats too. Like we don't really have a lot. It's something we're working on to put swag on the site so that if people want it, they can buy it at cost, by the way. We just don't have it yet. Do I owe you? Do I really? Yeah. Hold on here. Believe me, I have a note in my phone. I'm so bad. And it's just the shipping. Like the hats are in my truck. Oh my God, I'm so bad. I'm so sorry. Hold on here. Let's see here. I even have this note somewhere in here. Do me a favor and resend me your information, would you please? Oh my God, I'm so sorry. It's embarrassing, honestly. But but I did promise somebody a hat, and I'm so like, where is that information? It's not on my phone. I thought it was on my phone. No wonder. Oh, you got your hat, Daniel, on. Oh, good, good. We gave a bunch out over at NHC. No, I genuinely feel terrible. I was even talking to Anna about it. I'm like, where is the information on this gentleman? So if you could resend that to me, that would be great. Okay. It's this 11 horse is 3-1 in the Equinedge morning line. It has 0 pace, but basically a 1. But I don't dislike it either. But the other negative for me, and it might not matter here, and I believe these are the contenders that I've left up on the board here. But the 44 SOR, when today's a 52, but lightly raced horses can overcome that, David, as you know, right? So I am struggling with that a little bit. The 11, the 6 horse Trendy. This horse won on the turf nicely last time out in a 20,000 claiming race. It drops in win percentage, but what does it really drop in? It goes from a 67 GSR to a 44 GSR. I mean, and this horse is the Equinedge second pick. So again, there's no way you should be taking, if the 11 horse is going to go off at, let's just say 2 or 3-1, is it really worth playing? I don't know. I'm struggling with this one. I think I am leaning a little bit towards the 5 horse Cloud Storage, and its last 3 races were no bueno. The GSR stays about the same, but the win percentage goes up. I think I'm going to take a risk, and I don't love anything in here. What about the 9? What about the Scotty Longshot? I mean, can this horse win this race? It for Kathleen O'Connell, but Kathleen's cold. That's my trainer, by the way.
Yeah, I try to avoid staying away from cold barns. I love Kathleen O'Connell's barn, but she did much better at Tampa this year.
She did.
This winter, right? So I was all over her on Tampa, but just again, the same thing. When a barn gets cold, I like to wait until they wake up. So she's got 2 in here, the 1 and the 9. But the one thing I wanted to point out too, which is sometimes a factor this time of year with these filly races, that this race is carded for 3-year-olds and up. Okay, yeah. Fillies and mares. It gets to a point in the year that early in the year, in these races, to me, the older horses have the advantage because they're more seasoned. They've been racing against older horses. And it's hard for a 3-year-old to win against 3 and up. But now we're getting towards June, right? So this is about the time of year that these horses, again, the thing is with the 3-year-olds may have more upside, but sometimes it takes a while for them to show it. Right. So that would be a concern. So in a lot of these races, I'll lean to the 4-year-olds. Probably any time between like March and this time of year, I'm like, I'll give benefit. If I can't decide on 2 horses, I'll go with the older horse in these 3 and up. But in this case, I like the breeding too. I like Preservationist is just one of my favorite sires. So again, no speed. I have a concern. This horse has absolutely no speed. So if somebody gets an easy pace in here, easy lead, this filly may be in trouble. But with that being said, I'll take the 7-2 and move on.
Yeah, I'm struggling a little bit with this, but I think that this Cloud Storage might be okay. On the synthetic in 7 tries at Gulfstream Park here. Cloud Storage has won $24,000. I do worry a little bit about the mile in let's see, a mile and 70 yards. Only 3 races for $8,500. But then when you look at the 8 horse, 4 races, 21,000, 8 races, 49,000 at GP on the synthetic. This horse, arguably, look, in 8 tries has earned $49,000 on the synthetic. On the turf, 21 tries, $63,000 on the synthetic. Honestly, this horse has been being mismanaged. Now it's facing easier. Win percentage is about the same, and the GSR is about the same. But I think I would argue with you that maybe the 8 horse this is what this horse wants.
Yeah, don't mess with Tess as a 6-year-old horse. This horse, it's been in New York a lot, so I know this mare. I'm sorry, been working great on a synthetic. To me, this horse is probably the most likely winner, and but I didn't use her because of the price. I think this horse will probably be a lower price than Biera. So so I'm going with the 3-year-old, hoping that Biera
I don't
has a
know that
little
this
more.
horse will, David. Look, I mean, look, if
You
you
don't
look
think
on
so?
paper, the handicappers looking, the Equinedge morning line, they're looking and going, there's nothing great looks at this horse. The morning line's 6-1, so it could drift up. Yeah, I want to make sure we don't forget about the Scotty Long Shot, because these things come back to beat you, but it only faced 5 other horses last time out. And but it was a little bit tougher group. The reason I don't like a horse like this, I mean, this horse has been at this level, what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I mean, 6 times. I mean, it barely broke it and got by its maiden. These horses just don't win very often. But look, when you look at the finish, I can't take the 6. I don't think I want to take the 6, but the GSR drop is brutal to me, and so I can't do it, because these horses are just not going to win very often. So if I do that and I'm at the finish, and then what we're seeing the 5 and 8. So I think I've just answered my own question. I'm going to use the 5 on one ticket and the 8 on the other.
Okay, then I'm using the 11.
Okay, 5.
So do you think, in your opinion, Scotty, you think the 8 will be the favorite, or the 11 will be the favorite over the 8?
I think the 11, I don't know who's going to be the favorite, to be honest with you. Even the E-Morning line has the 9 at 3-1. I would have to say, if I'm looking at this, I would say that the 9 will end up being the favorite and the 11 will be the second choice based on paper. That's what they're going to see.
Okay. Right, I agree.
Yeah.
Just to point out, we've got less than 1 minute to post at our first feeder race, Gulfstream Park Race 2.
Gulfstream Park. We'll go to that.
And again, it says 0 to post. That means we probably got about another 7 minutes at Gulfstream.
Yeah, that's true. So you have 11. What?
In the 7th race at Gulfstream, I have 11. I would use 11 as my top pick, and then I can't. Gerald Bennett to me is a Tampa trainer, so yeah, I hate to say it, I'd use the 2 favorites, 11-8.
11-8. Okay. All right. So 11-8. All right. So we're how far through? We got. All right. So we've got to go to. We're gonna go to Gold. Let's just go to Gulfstream.
Okay, just those of you who want to enter the feeder, you probably have 2 or 3 minutes, but I'm not sure. Did they shut you off before they load in the gate at Horse Players? I'm not sure. So you have
when they take off, they do.
Okay. All right. So if you want to play this 6 races, get them in now.
All right, David. So you've got in this feeder, you have the 9.
The 9 on one ticket, right, and the 1 on my other ticket. Yes.
And I have, I remember this race now, because the rail's at 66 feet, which is about as far as I've ever seen it. What that means essentially is those outside horses are getting pushed out, and that first turn comes very quickly, as you can see. Look at the track diagram, and you better be on the inside or be the fastest horse by far. I don't think this race plays for the 9. I think this is about the 1, 2. I think the picks have it. I think it's 1, 2, 6, 7. I think the other ones with no speed on the outside, they don't have a lot. So I wish you guys all the best. If you guys are playing in the feeder, please let us know what you like. We'd love to know.
Absolutely.
But you and I also talked about this race, going, okay, who's going to get the lead here? The 1 or the 2? I think at the first call, it looks like the 1's going to get the lead.
Yeah, I think the 1. The way I envision the race is the 1's going to get out, and this horse could be on a lead for a long time, and that's why I used it on my other. I used this horse on my other ticket. But the one thing that I like with Vladislav's second race off a layoff, working well, and this horse. To me, if this horse has a chance, this horse has to stay closer to the pace than it was in its last race. But I think as long as Sonny Leon gets this horse out, that's the key. So
So we're gonna watch this race. I'm gonna take this call real quick. Good luck, everybody.
good luck, everybody.
Of course, yeah, for another hour.
All right, they're loading into the gate. The 6 horse is going in. That is American Speed at 2-1. So the 6 is the solid favorite at 2-1. The 1 is actually the second choice, Grand David at 7-2. And we've got the 2 horse Treasure King is the third choice at 4-1. My 9 horse Vladislav is actually 11-1, which I love. There's nothing like getting off to 11-1 shot in a feeder. Let's see if we can get Vladislav home or Grand David. Good luck, everybody. The 9 did not get off as I anticipated.
Together with the 2 trailers in our Tiger and Bertawa went 22-4 for a pumped up opening quarter.
22-4 for the opening quarter. That may be a little aggressive.
That seems awfully fast. It seems to set it up for the 6 horse. I mean, the 6 is loaded, but going to have to get past the 2. Oh, the 1's checking up. I think the 4 came in on the 1. 6 is loaded.
Yeah, the 4 was the 1 was just exhaustively tired.
Yeah, here's the 6 on the inside. Oh, here comes the 8 on the outside. 14-1. Well, that's going to upset the apple cart as far as this feeder goes for sure.
14-1. There you go. Looking for a price. And we got Daniel Hertak. It seems like the interesting thing about Hertak, Scotty, is almost all his horses are dead stone closers, right? Have you noticed that?
Yeah. Yep.
Got up, got a big fast pace. It was 22-4 for that first quarter. So with that pace,
that's what set it up. I mean, who could have?
Yeah.
I guess especially even coming from behind with the rail being out so far. That's how fast they were going. I mean, for this group of horses to go that fast is insane. Although the turf course, listen, my horse Galicia Spirit, that turf course over at Gulfstream Park, like from fall on, has been so rock hard. I mean, my horse chipped a knee, and most likely will never be the same. Well, hopefully, very very rarely they come back at the same level. And that course is hard as hell. And you're seeing it play out like that too. Like they had, I think I've heard a lot of owners be very unhappy about it, and it's not their fault. I mean, they're doing the best they can, and they put a lot of money into trying to make it better, but it is an issue that they're dealing with for sure. And did you give the 8? I did not see that. Okay. Director gave the 8. Nice call.
Great. Nice call.
I will say this. We did talk about this. Sorry, David. We did talk about this, though. Look at this vertical line here. We talked about this and how wide open this race was, and we saw that in this race.
Yeah, and we both mentioned that. Why use the 6 at 2-1 when this looks like a wide open race and it's a value race? And that's why I try to reach out with a 9. But so we did get a price 14-1, and that's what we expected here.
Yeah,
I didn't anticipate 22-4 first quarter, and this horse, I mean, at the last race at a $25,000 claimer went off at 45-1.
Yeah. Look at that. 2 ran a good race.
And I didn't see the jockey switch here. So Panizzi was off, and we've got Anthony Thomas. Anthony Thomas has won a couple of nice. Has won at Gulfstream in the winter with a couple of nice price horses.
862 director.
This
had
kid may
picked.
be able to ride.
Wow, he picked it. Wow, nice handicapping there. I hope you played that
All right.
exact at least. That is
Good job.
really good. Yeah, really nice job. Okay, guys. Well, let's get back to. We need to get to Belmont race number 7.
Belmont race number 7. Let me just grab my notes here, Scotty. Actually, it's right. We always think it's Belmont. It's actually Aqueduct, but the Belmont at Aqueduct always throws me off because I'm thinking of Belmont, the one turn. And I got to get that out of my mind. It's not a 1-turn mile. The races at distance are 2 turns at Aqueduct. Okay.
Nice.
Mile 8 is not a 1-turn race. 2-turn race. I got to get it in my head.
Yeah.
All right.
Let's run this thing. All right. So we got 8.5 furlongs on the turf. And you can see that the 3 and the 6 are the fastest horses. And
the 2, oh, hold on a second. The second race just went off at the Big A, right?
Yes. Oh, it did? Oh, we missed it. Oh, we can't cover it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right now, coming down the stretch. Wow.
Price?
Yeah, the horse that I said was a throwout. That's the only horse that couldn't win. It wins by about 10 lengths.
35 seats available. Thanks, Dave. Yeah, so, remember we talked about that horse having the right style.
It looks like we've got to be careful that that's not a speed bias track, but I guess this horse close. I just picked it up turning for home, so I don't know. I'd have to watch the replay. So, yeah.
No, I doubt
that horse.
I don't think that horse had the lead early.
No, probably not. Yeah, but the thing is, this horse stumbled the last couple starts and actually won. The reason I didn't like this horse was came out of an $8,000 claimer at Gulfstream. But Engelhart has got this horse, picked this horse up. Engelhart's a New York guy. That's an impressive horse.
Who got second and third, David?
I think hold on a second. It was actually 2-1 coming down the stretch. The 2 was bet down to 5-1, which is the same morning line price, but the 1 was running well too. It was 2. I think the 1 might have held on for second. Ghostly Girl. So
2-1-3.
2-1-3.
Yep.
Right. So my top pick finished third. Yep. 2-1-3-6. All
right, let's get to Belmont at the Big A, race number 7. Let's play this race. Mile and the 16th. I'm going to sort the outside horses top on the top. It looks like you can see, kind of get a good view of what's happening here. In the 6, now the 3's in the lead. The 3 is a horse to watch, David. Look at this. 3 is 31% to win, which is above its 25% price. Top pace, top win percentage, top SOR, and here comes the 2-horse Born Dancer. And you can see a wall. You can see a wall of them there. I think we can easily, and this is why I love this. Look at the 5-horse. The 5-horse is projected to go off at probably 3-1, and on paper it looks okay, but it's facing a tougher group today. It's on the turf. The GSR drops. The win percentage drops. I mean, it's going to get right. So it's projected, but the GSR goes down. The simulator doesn't have the horse anywhere near. For me, I'm just crossing off 7, 5, 6, 7 out. Now it leaves me with these horses. Now, what we're supposed to do, David, of these competitive horses, we're supposed to take the horse really that we think is going to be a price. That's what we're supposed to do.
Correct.
I mean, right? Because look, one of these 5 horses, we can look more in depth at these horses though. But why don't you go ahead and tell us what your thoughts are in this race?
Okay, I originally, because I've won before in this horse, I originally I was focusing on the 3. It's all coming together. I'm a big Phil Serpy fan. He's got doesn't have a lot of horses in his barn, but he tends to strike with pretty good prices. This horse is 3-1 morning line. So I'm looking to possibly beat this horse. The question I have is the distance. Okay. This horse hasn't won at the distance, but only tried it twice. Comes out of a 5 furlong race. But until a horse, to me, this horse, when I scored on this horse was last year about the same time, wire to wire at a mile. I always thought this horse was a mile horse, and its only other victory is at a mile and just barely held on by a neck. So when you go in a mile and a 16th, you got to prove to me that you can handle a mile and a 16th. So with that being said, I'm looking for a horse who's had success at this distance and possibly over the course. The horse that I was sold on here is the Scotty's top pick, is Born Dancer. This horse is off a layoff. This horse has had limited starts.
I'm sorry, David, off 6 straight layoffs.
Yes. So that's the concern.
Yeah, this is
here.
Wow.
It's usually not a good thing off the layoffs, but Michelle Nevin's barn is pretty crafty. This horse broke through the gate the last time, had a troubled start the time before, but did get to the lead. I think this horse is going to be in a perfect position, has a chance to possibly go wide to wire, may be able to rate a little bit off the pace, but you can throw out that last race. And so I'm looking for a little bit of a price, even though this horse is only morning line 5-1. The second horse I was using comes out of the same race, and that's the one horse, Let's Go Big Blue. This horse was previously trained by George Weaver, and we all know how well George Weaver does on the turf. Switches over to Melanie Giddings. This is a August Dawn Farm horse. This is Bill Parcells. So I believe that this horse is most likely sitting on a pretty decent race. I do have concern with the layoff, but because this horse has won at the distance before on August 17th at Saratoga in a small stakes, but actually what didn't win, it was disqualified, but it finished in front of horses at the wire. It's 2-1 for me here, Scotty. Born Dancer over Let's Go Big Blue.
All right, so there's positives and negatives to the 3 horse. I mean, it's had 3 straight layoff lines. The trainer is 5% off the layoff. But this horse is a horse to watch. 31% to win in this situation, negative 7% ROI, and in the money 69%. The GSR goes up. I can promise you that the distance is not an issue with this horse. It's just been the class level. When this horse went 8.5 furlongs 2 races back, it was against a group a little bit tougher than this. Only 12% to win against 9 other horses, and it got second by 1 1/4. Distance is not the issue with this horse, but it does need to be. It looks like it has to be on the lead. And you're right, both the 2 horse and the 6 horse are fast. It's the reason why I don't necessarily love the 2 horse either personally, because although this horse showed the ability to probably rate a little bit last time out, broke through the gate, had issues. I hate the layoff lines on the 2 horse. So I just can't choose a horse like that, but this horse could win and might even go off at 5 or 6-1. So it's not my type of horse, but this horse certainly has a look. I don't like the 8-1 on the Equinedge morning line on the 1. It's leaving me to the 8 and the 9, who are, by the way, Equinedge picks too. I'm struggling a little bit with this race too, because the 8 horse barely got up last time out against a 54 group, and today's a 60. This is a much, much tougher group. But if the 3 horse that seems to have issues and the 2 horse seems to have issues don't run, then you're looking at just an absolute grab bag, right? Then it's just wide open from there. And so we just don't know. I think if we take a closer look at the 9-horse, how do you? I mean, this horse has been off. Mike Maker is 14% off the layoff. This horse is another horse that needs to be forwardly placed and really doesn't. I mean, this horse won't be on the lead. That's for sure. And it draws a wide post. I mean, who's the horse that really is the closer in the race that seems to be able to fit in here? Maybe it's the 1-horse. It definitely could be. I'm probably going to lean towards the 3-horse and go with the horse to watch. I probably am going to go that direction, although I don't like the 3 layoff lines, and I don't like the one thing I've learned is the going with statistics is one thing, but the algorithms already analyzed those statistics and still say that this horse deserves a big look. So it's hard for me to go against this 3-horse, I think. So I'm probably going to go in that direction. But look at this. I mean, you got these horses that are really close. We got some tough races today, don't we?
Yeah. This is a competitive race. And the one thing, I did take a glance at King of Comedy, the 9-horse. I just noticed the only time, the 2 races that he won, first went wire to wire back on July 2nd, a slow pace. And then also a slow pace was close to the pace on its 3rd race on November 11th. So this horse, it doesn't look like this horse has to be close to the lead or on the lead, and I don't foresee that here. I love Oscar performances, but to me, that's why I didn't use this horse. So yeah, I think the closer would be the 1, Let's Go Big Blue, because of the rail posts, you don't have to worry about breaking. This horse is not going to go up for the lead. So hopefully, if the pace is good enough and the 2 and the 3 go at it, that the 1 will be the one to pick up the pace here and pick up the chips at the end.
You know, Castellano gets off of the 1-horse and the 6-horse. It's interesting, but it is off of a layoff, and Lezcano gets back on, and Lezcano's won on this horse before. We're looking at a really tough race. You definitely don't want to take a favorite here. The rail's at 18 feet, so that's I don't think that's going to be any kind of an issue for any of these horses. I like the 3 horses going back up as far as the GSR. We can sort here. Let's sort the SOR and see how these horses have done. So the 1-horse has 1 win, 1 second, and 3/3 against a 65 average SOR in 6 tries. Today's a 60. And maybe we shouldn't worry about the 8-1 on the morning line, considering the race on paper is so wide open. Maybe that's a fair price. You know what? I think I'm going to take a chance, and I'm going to go with this 1-horse.
Okay, yeah, that would be my second pick. It would be the 2 or the 1. Right. I think I prefer the 2 slightly on top of the 1, but yeah, no, I can see that. Yep.
What was your thoughts on the 8? Talk me off the 8.
Yeah, the reason the 8, what was my concern with the 8? The 8 is this closer, right?
Yeah.
I'm not the trainer. I'm not really high on. Their barn doesn't usually get a lot of winners. However, the last race, this horse did really close over. So it's got a win over the turf course, right? So that's in its favor. And it's got a good workout on May 14th. 7-2 at 7-2 morning. It's a horse that I would toss, but this is the closer. Did lose on August 27th to Born Dancer, but it was a nose finish. So if I like Born Dancer, then you're right. Maybe you can use the 8. Be encouraged. You're right. Castellano goes back on this horse. Even though Lezcano was riding Let's Go Big Blue previously. So that's probably
Lezcano, but Lezcano was the regular rider for this horse, and
right.
And I think the jockey trainer combination is actually pretty good. Let's look.
Right. So yeah, the horse has a shot.
Well, 31%. I mean, that's pretty amazing. I would put Castellano on this horse. Castellano's not going to ride horses he doesn't think he can win on. And look at they're 31% together, and Pregman's only a 7% trainer. Did win last time out. Who was aboard? Castellano was aboard for that win, so he comes right back. That was off a layoff as well. I don't know. Like maybe the workout. Look at the horse is working good. 3-star for Bruno. So the horse is still doing very well. It's the second pick. You know, sometimes when I can't figure stuff out, what I'll do is just defer to the picks, to the Scotty picks, and maybe.
Yeah.
And you've got the 2 horse in here. I mean, do you think the 2 horse can rate? Because I don't think the 2 is going to be on the lead.
Yeah, I do have a concern, but I think the Carmouche usually loves to gun, right? But I think the 2, Carmouche is going to sit off of Gomez with the 3 and make a move. So I think it's going to be 3-2 around the first turn, and 2 staying close to the pace and maybe taking a lead coming around the turn. We'll see how fast the pace is. So.
Well, you know, the one thing I'll say about the 3 horse, I mean, the workouts are very slow for the return, but when this horse actually gets the lead, that's twice. Both wins were gate to wire. It doesn't lose, and look at it got the lead at Saratoga against a 66 group and went gate to wire.
Right, and that was at a mile. So I understand that the class it was in. This horse has been in New York State bred stakes races, the New York Stallion Stakes. But again, if you look at its PPs, that this horse, even at a mile at the end, this horse is starting to lose ground. Yeah. So I still have that concern that maybe the 2, as far as the distance is concerned, this horse got off slow the last time and did close. So maybe this horse is rateable to a certain extent. So that's what gave me the incentive to use the 2 over the 3. So
yeah. So let's put on this 3 horse. Look at, you can throw out the last race. First of all, it was against a 74 group. It was 1% to win, and the GSR was 59. Arguably, the horse only lost by 4 3/4 lengths, like at 76 to 1. But you can throw that out. And then the race before that against a little bit tougher than what's in today against 9 other horses, it got second and it didn't get the lead. It was dueling. I think that I've made up my mind. I'm gonna do the 3.
Listen, I like Serpy's Barn. I like the 3. You're right. That March 9th race at 5 furlongs. That's open company. This is a New York State bred. And first time he's ventured out into to open company. And with that in mind, that's a nice tune-up race. But I still do something in Scotty in the back of my mind, knowing this horse. I do recall this sweating out a big wager, and I think I was alive in a multi-race wager, and that was on July 20th of last year, thinking this horse wasn't going to hold on at 9-1, and I'm like, basically, this horse was dying, I remember, at the end. So that's why I guess I have that concern in my head, no matter what the class is, that maybe this horse just starts quitting. So we'll see. It'd be curious to see if this horse does want to go mile and 16. It's a drop down, basically, off that last race. Absolutely.
All right, we're going to go to Gulfstream Park, race number 8 now, okay? And I'm looking to see, because they're on the track over at Gulfstream for race number 3. So we'll get out there for the feeder, and we've got this is leg number 6. So we've got halfway through already, and let's run the race. So 5 furlong sprint, and I'm telling you, this is almost always speed. Almost always.
Yeah, these 5 furlong races, like I said, I've been burnt so many times thinking that I can get a perfect trip with a horse that's rateable, and it never seems to happen.
So you can look at the 7 horse at 2% getting up and getting second. Wow. That's really interesting. That might be, maybe that's the price price horse. Okay, you know,
Right.
we need to look for Paco first of all, because nobody's gonna. Oh, he's not here. Okay, well, good, because Paco is just amazing here at Gulfstream Park, going 5.5 furlongs. I mean, you can just, that guy is just insanely good.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, he's so good. I think there is some speed in here. So the 4 horses got Zayas. So Zayas is very reliable. The 8 horse is pretty fast. And the 8 horse at 12%, 57 GSR. I mean, this is a very tough knocking horse. Faced a 62 Group 2 back at 14%, same GSR, and dueled from the inside, but ended up getting 9th and falling back. Came back on the synthetic last time out. This is a very hard knocking horse. I don't think it's as good as the 4, though. I think the 4 is going to be very, very tough. Look, at the 4 is getting a lot easier competition here as well, and will most likely have the lead. I don't know. What are your thoughts on this 4 horse Portofino?
Yeah, this horse, the one thing I have in my notes, Scotty, is this horse rarely runs a bad race. If you look, I'm looking at the last 7 races, and this horse only has the worst this horse has finished in the last 7 races is 4th. We've got a 1st, 2nd, 4th, 1st, 3rd, 2nd by neck, by winning twice by a half length, by a length. So this horse usually always fires a good race. So, yeah. But again, you're dealing with a post-time favorite. So the question is, do you look for a horse who may finish 2nd at a big price, or maybe possibly upset the field? The one thing I wanted to check, do we have a jockey switch? I know Panizzi was off the other horse. Who's on the 2 horse?
It looks like Jaramillo's on the 2.
All right. So originally I was going to use the 4 and not look for a 2nd horse, because this horse is just too honest. This horse always fires. And when I see a horse like that, I'm at least confident that I'm going to get a 2nd to move on, even if this horse doesn't win, because this horse always seems to run a good race. You don't have any clunkers in there. But then I'm looking again at, do I maybe want to take a shot here, because I'm usually not in love with 9 to 5 shots in tournament races. But so I think the other horse I may use is the 2. You're right. I mean, even though this horse did not, the 8 horse beat the 2 in the last race. That was synthetic. This is turf. I'm not sure this horse, I'm reaching, but I think when push comes to shove, I would probably use solidly the 4 horse and just take the price and move on.
The problem for me is the 8 is so fast that the 8's going to send from that outside under Rios and could hurt the 4 in a good way for us, because we really don't want to use a horse like this if we don't have to. I like the fact that the 8's on the outside of the 4, and who sits the perfect trip? And that's the 2 horse.
Most likely.
Yeah, with under Jaramillo. Now, I don't like 4 wins in 27 races for the 2, but it does seem like this race could set up well for this horse. But I don't know what to think about this 7 horse. The simulated race likes this foreign horse for some reason. The GSR is low. It got a lot of 1st and 2nds coming in here from Chile. I have no idea what to make of this horse. That's what, maybe there's a workout from. Okay, here's a workout. Worked half a mile in company. Did things best along the inside while finishing 2 lengths in front of the other. Nice hold. Breer was asked a bit late and couldn't get on even terms. Okay, that's not bad. Then comes over here, 11 of 88, 2 bullet work here, 2 3-star works in a row for the 7 horse, and then this, like I said, the simulator has this horse coming in 2nd. But I'm not going to let the win percentage bother me, because we don't get a lot of data for these foreign horses. Right.
Yeah, these foreign horses I always pass normally, Scotty, unless it's a trainer that I'm aware of. yeah, these Chile horses. I'm gonna let's see what the form is in the United States here. So I'll always pass on horses like that.
Yeah.
Unless it's Charlie Appleby bringing a horse over from Europe, and then I'll never pass. I'll just play it blindly.
Understood. I will say this: Sanchez is 18% horses off a layoff, and first race of the horse 19%. That's well above his 13%. So he does well in situations like this. And no matter the level, and we have a hard time comparing nine first and second place finishes in 15 races is pretty impressive. So clearly the horse is a trier, right? And
Right.
you know, I just don't think I don't know that I trust fully this 4-horse. So there's something about this 4 I don't fully trust. All right, who do we need? Gulfstream Park. They're going into the gate.
Yeah,
For race
I've got
number 3.
yeah, I've
You
got the
have
prohibitive favorite, the 5, which is
I
not
have
doing
the
me too
5.
much good.
That's
Right,
right.
because I'm 0 for 2 in the first 2 races. 6 is a little fractious, it looks like. All right, good luck, everybody.
The 5 was the big favorite. This is the horse to watch. Oh, the 4 just slammed into the back of the 5. And the 4 was my second choice. And you had the 2 as the second choice. But let's see if that ends up affecting the 5. But that 4 slammed into the 5's rear pretty hard.
Alongside Alma Pura with Lady Oakridge on the far outside. So they all concede the lead to the 1-2 favorite Iron Chief, 2 with 6 furlongs to race. Alma Pura is now second. Lady Oakridge on the outside third. Roseview at the rail fourth. On from fifth, it's Lady
Roseview ended up going off at 4-1. We talked about the 8-horse Lady Monique and the lack of speed and that outside post. We'll see. I mean, it looks like the jockey's prodding on the 8-horse. I just naturally gravitate away from those types of horses in that post position. I mean, it still might run and finish on. It likely will, but not.
Okay, it looks like the 7's, the 8's going to be the prime competition here.
Yeah, it looks like it here. It's coming now. The 2's coming as well. 4 is going back. I think the 5's struggling. I think the 2 and the 8 are coming. 5's done.
Up on the outside, it's Lady Monique. In between horses, Roseview. Awesomely Wild's a huge price.
I don't like that glancing back. I don't have confidence at all now in a 5.
No, 5's done.
Yep. 5 is totally done.
1-14-4. On the outside, Lady Monique is.
Here comes Awesome Wild. The Wild, but the 8's
40-1. That's going to knock you.
Iron Shield.
Yeah.
Lady Monique and Cipriano Gill driven out at 4-1. Lady Monique.
I mean, that 5 was a really bad favorite. Listen, I don't know how much.
Yeah.
8-3-2. I don't know how much the start hurt that horse. I mean, it could have. I mean, the 4 slammed in the back of that horse pretty hard. I mean, that was a disappointing run for the 5, to say the least. No doubt about it. So,
and that's why I hate taking prohibitive favorites in these contests, even though they're feeders, because I'm not a 1-2 guy in a contest. But I wouldn't have had that 40-1 shot. So in retrospect, the 40-1 shot is the horse that was the horse to use here to get the price. So. But this horse had never lifted a hoof. But again, cuts even at it had dirt in its first start, then 2 synthetics. This horse looked like it couldn't run, right?
Yeah.
And even second race off a layoff on a horse that has form like this is not good enough for me. It's horse racing.
Yeah. So when you look at the let's look at the 3 real quickly. The first thing I see is an increase in GSR. By the way, you should always look at the. Oh, I'm sorry. Hold on. Let me change the tab. You should always look at this. So you can see this horse has been running on the synthetic. First race, it sprinted, but it did not. Look at the GSRs. And then look at the GSR jump to 54. So we saw an improved effort. And if you look at the stretch, the horse is only 7 lengths back against 9 other horses off of a layoff and then goes up in GSR. And look at, we get that run. That's a really good play right there, just so you know, for future to look for. Okay. So That's what those surge indicators are for. To kind of get you to go do a double take, and then you look at the past performances, and there we go. That's a great example right there. You get 40 to 1. So yeah, you don't want to ignore those things. All right.
Yeah, you'll get a cap, most likely a cap price, you would think, for the place on this horse. You get $22. And for the 8, you'll get what, 15 or so, 4 to 1.
Yeah.
Place money about 15ish.
Yeah, probably 15 or 16. Okay. So now we got to get to
which race we were talking about the
Gulfstream 8. We got to get back to Gulfstream 8.
8th, right? Now where I was on the 4. See, again, I'm on Portofino the 4, but after, and again, I don't love to play favorites in these contests, online contests, but sometimes this horse just never runs a bad race. So I think I'm locked into this 4 horse.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, this horse is going to go off at 3 to 5. Is it worth 3 to 5? I don't know, David. Like,
No.
And the style of the 8 could put a lot of pressure on this horse. I mean, they're going to be flying at the end, which is going to set it up for a horse to come from behind, possibly, or somewhat tactical. Let's see, at the first call, you can see the 4 and the 8, and the 2's right there as well. But maybe the 2 sits behind them. And then look at this darn 7 horse. I mean, this 7 horse is flying. How about the 3 Kentaro? Could this horse get the speed up front and close and win this race first time on the turf? Is that a possibility with Reyes?
Yeah, I mean, that's the closer, right? But again, all synthetic, and it's only 5 furlongs. Yeah, again, like I said, I've been beaten so many times by trying to play closes on a 5 furlong turf
that's
race.
True. You're right.
Right. So I'm going to go. This horse is a Kentaro, so it should handle the turf, right? But I think I am just sold on Portofino. And the key is, even if this horse doesn't run well, normally runs a 2nd or 3rd. So at least you should get some money here if you use the 4. But then I'll have a horse player say to me, well, he's due to eventually finish off the board. No horse is that consistent. So, but I'll take the consistency in this case on a horse. Normally a distance and surface I have trouble with. So I'm not going to just reach for some crazy long shot just for the purpose of having a long shot here.
Understandable. I think I'm gonna go with Jaramillo in the 2. And take a risk.
You're going to use the 2 on top?
Yeah, I think I'm going to do that. I think Jaramillo, if he can get the horse to relax, sit behind the 8 and the 4, and if those 2 duel, the horse that's going to get first run is going to be the 2.
That's the horse that should get first run, because the 3 will be lagging behind. But what about the 5, Bella Future? Horse has won his last 2 races. But needs to be closer to the pace, right? But that might serve perfectly at 5 furlongs. So I did take a look at that horse also.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I agree. Let's look at this 5 horse. Hold on here. So, yeah, I mean, it's going to sit. It should sit a decent trip. It seems to fit class-wise. It's off of a layoff. Vasquez jumps aboard. Only has 3 wins in 29 races. It has 7 third-place finishes. I mean, it's okay. I mean, first of all, this horse tries every time. I mean, you're gonna get an effort.
Right.
What I'm gonna bank on in this race is that Jaramillo is gonna get this horse to relax, or will he do the opposite? Will he try to get the lead?
This horse won a race on March 18th, right, of last year. wire to wire. And the first quarter, if I'm looking at, is that a misprint? 20-4. That track that day must have been, that turf course must have been rock hard.
Well,
And you look at the last synthetic race, Scotty, this horse went and had the lead. Does this horse need to be on a lead?
the two, that's what
Go
I'm trying to
further
figure
back?
out.
Yeah. Go further
Well,
back on it.
look what it did. Look what it did 2 races back. Jaramillo was aboard. It against a 62 group at 8%, and this horse lost by 1 3/4 lengths, not having the lead. So, can it come from behind? I mean, look, it in the past it's proven it can come from behind. It came from behind back here. You can see, so I think it can rate a little bit. I maybe the 5's the horse. The 5 we know can rate.
Right, but never 10 starts, never won at the distance.
Exactly. And you know what I don't like about it? Look at what this horse has done on the dirt or on the synthetic, right? In 14 tries, earned 92,000. In 12 tries at Gulfstream Park on the turf, only 37,000. And it's earned 2,000 per start, going 5 furlongs on the turf. So,
yeah, this horse, Scotty, if you go back to January of 22, 5 furlongs on synthetic for Richie. This horse did close and also closed in its other win. So Richie can close. Just a matter of getting this horse to relax.
Bella Future is going to close as well. I think what I'm going to do, man, I hate this. Normally on my tickets, I'm using many times the same horses on both of my entries, but I'm going to just hope it all works out for me. I mean, in almost every race I've played different horses. I don't like that. That tells me the races are really tough. And it also tells me to not use favorites. But all right, let's go to Santa Anita race number 2.
All right, Santa Anita race 2. Let me see, get my notes. Oh, that's the race I need help with. I have no notes. I jumped to Santa Anita race 3. This is Santa Anita 12-5 claimer. It's only a 6-horse field, actually a 5-horse field now. So this was a scramble. I probably just going to be a guessing game here for me. So I'd like your opinion here, Scotty.
Okay, you got it. We'll take a closer look at these horses. The 6 is the fastest horse in the race, and we can see that. But this horse might be worth trying to beat. You can see the simulator doesn't really like the 6. It's got the 3 who's 8-5, winning for fun. Vladimir Serin, not really known for his claims. But I mean, this horse won easily off of a couple of month layoff. Comes back all the same conditions. I think the key to this 3 horse is how vulnerable is the 6. We have to, we just have to look at the 6 and go, do we trust this 6 horse? It's facing easier.
And this is a mile, correct? Yeah, mile race, 12-5 claimer. So I think the first thing I've decided to do is throw out the 5-horse because I don't think, based on its PPs, I wouldn't see the 5 being a mile distance horse. So I'll narrow that down and throw that horse out. Now the 1 has won at the distance from the same post.
Yeah,
back on March 4th. And now drops down.
But that race on March 4th was against a 44 group, was 36% to do it. So it had a lot going its own way. It's 18%, same GSR. and the SOR is a 48. So it's not like it can't win, but it is a tougher group here. There's nothing wrong with the 2-horse Dramatizer as well. Was claimed for 10,000 by George Lopez, and he's won one of 2 of 3, so that's pretty good. He was in the 428 race, going 8 furlongs, and he got second to Boulin. Drops to 19%. And look at, that's interesting that Boulin was 27%, or excuse me, Boulin was 32% in that 428 race, and now is 18%. Dramatizer was 27%, and now is actually a little bit higher. It's interesting. Maybe third race off the layoff, maybe with the new trainer, maybe this is but only 4 wins in 33 races. I hate that.
Yeah, and Scotty, you may know this trainer. I'm not familiar with George Lopez, the trainer. I'm familiar with George Lopez, the comedian, but not the trainer. So,
yeah,
you're more of a, you know George Lopez?
No, sir.
Okay, all right. Yeah, so third race off a layoff is an angle for me because usually horses can show improvement, but this horse's last 2 races, this horse is a Golden Gate shipper, but has raced at Santa Anita and Del Mar at a higher level. I don't know what to make of this horse. That's why I've struggled. Lost to Voulin in the last race, but now Voulin was off a layoff. Now this Voulin's second race off a layoff.
Right.
Yeah. Maybe I think, again, if this was a mandatory, I have to play it. It's a contest race. I have to play it. I mean, Voulin did beat the 1 DeJurio on December 1st, where DeJurio was the favorite. But it looks like there was a trouble line in that race, right? So, you know, because the 1 has won at the distance from the inside post, I think I'm going to use the 1 DeJura with Gonzalez up here.
I mean, yeah, that was an easier race.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to just go with the simulator here. I mean, it's got the 3-horse winning easily. I think I'm going to go with that. I'm a big Tyler Bays fan as well. Okay. Vladimir Seren's really good.
Excellent.
Though, I think the other thing we have to consider is, I mean, look at this horse in the last 5 races. I mean, this horse has won those races and nicely. The horse seems to be doing very well right now. And so I think that maybe we go in this direction. I don't know. Something seems amiss with the 6-horse. So I'm gonna take a chance with the 3 Boulin.
Okay, and I'll go with the 1, the second, Scotty's second pick, DeJuro. So it's only a 4-horse field, right? So
yeah,
a 5. Yeah. So yeah, I'll just use the 1.
So you're gonna do 1-3.
Yeah, I guess it would be 1-3. Yeah.
Okay, and I'm gonna do 3.
And you'll use 3-1.
I'm gonna do 3-1. Okay, so that's that. Now we go on. We have 3 more legs to do. We go to. Let's make sure. Are there any races coming up we need to go to?
Scotty, by the way, we missed the 3rd at Aqueduct. It was won by the prohibitive favorite, St. Benedict's Prep, with Irish Jackson finishing 2nd. Very, very formful race. Just as I pictured it. Yeah.
You had
this as I pictured it, a 1-2 over a 2-1.
Yeah, good call. So 3-1.
Thanks.
It's day. You still picked the exacta. Good job. Okay, so we need to go to BAQ 8. Okay, let's run this.
Yeah, I picked a $5.60 exacta. So.
Okay.
But look, at $2 is $10. So.
Hey, in a short field, and a win is a win. So we're seeing the top 2 pace numbers duke it out early on. And then the simulator has, here comes the 1 and the 2. Looks like we can probably throw out the 4 and the 5. Let's see here. 54 group, 8 furlongs, 67%. Did get second in that race on 510. Now this one barely broke its maiden against a 38 group. So this one's form, it seems to be really bad, the 7 horse. But it's going to be forwardly placed. It's going to be, most likely dueling. It seems it's rated before, but it really does seem to be the type of horse that needs to be near the lead, and its form is certainly bad. So because of that reason, I completely see Gomez sending this 7 going, my best chance is to be on the lead, just trying to get in the jockey's head. And then I look at this horse, and it definitely looks like a horse that needs a lead, and it's on the inside. So I see Vasquez completely sending this horse. The jockey trainer combination, he doesn't usually use Vasquez, Bruce Levine, and then 10% only on Rodriguez and Gomez. So I'm trying to beat both these horses. So so now I'm looking at the 1 or 2. So I imagine you have a strong opinion in here.
Me?
Yes.
Not quite. This is not my special. It's a New York State maiden race where it's a non-winners of one other than maiden claiming a starter. So you'll see a distinction here. You'll see Foxy Cara is 1 for 16. The number 2 Duck Fat is 1 for 28. And the reason is most likely these horses are staying in their New York State bred condition, not a claim it or a starter race. So in a race like this, I'm looking for a horse who hasn't had that many opportunities and that was a proven loser. Equine Eternity is only 1 for 5. So we've got 2 horses here who've won multiple races, and that would be Joey the Fish, who's won 3 races, and those would be claimers. And this horse is a lower level claimer, so to me, this horse is a throwout. Chasing Daylight has won 3 races, 3 races over this track, 3 races over the distance. What really concerns me is the last 2 races. The sloppy races, the 2 sloppy races recently at 6.5 and a mile, I'll throw those races out. This horse never showed any affinity or had any other starts on an off track. Yeah. So I'm going to take the chance that this horse did just not care for an off track. This horse now goes back to a mile, but recently the form starting in February, that race at a mile, this horse finished 57 lengths behind as the favorite. So I have concerns about this horse, but I think that this field is got, you can shoot a lot of holes in this field. The horse that I originally was going to take a shot with was the 6 who scratched. So with that being said, I'm going to take a chance that this 7 can just, I think the 7 is probably a good candidate to stalk this 3 or go wire to wire. So I'm going to take a chance with the 7, even though the 7, she may be off form, but I'll go with the 7. With
okay. I'm going with the 2-1. This race is just too bad. I think it's going to fall apart, and the 1 and the 2 are going to come from behind. That's what I think is going to happen.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm going to take a chance with a long shot and go there. I think we're going to see some prices today. We'll see. Who's your second choice in here?
I guess push comes to shove, I would use the 1. But again, just want to point out the 2 horses, they're the 1 and the 2, or 1 for 16 and 1 for 2. So collectively, they're basically 1 for 45. So that's why I can't use horses like that. So, but I will use the 1 for second. Yeah, I'll use the 7. There's a lot of questions about this race, the horse's ability and the current form level.
Yeah, understandable. All right,
Yeah.
so we have 2 more to go, but this is one of those. It's the last of the legs. So let's look at this. It looks like the 5 horse needs the lead for its best, and it's not going to get it. I want to make sure we got okay. Gulfstream Park. There's about 2 minutes before that race, so for the feeder. But why don't we run this race real quickly here? I need to get rid of some horses here. Hold on. I'm going to do something so we can see the screen. Man, this 9th race is something else, isn't it? Okay.
It sure is.
Oh, my goodness. Let's see here. Finish. I think we could probably get rid of that one. Okay, let's go back to the start. Oh, wow. Okay. It is 6 furlongs. So we'll put the 1 at the top and we'll play the race. Here we go. Now you can see the 12 horse is 4-1 in the Equinedge morning line, and it's going to be coming. But and I know the jockey will bring the horse inside probably somewhere. But that post is not exactly a great post, and the horse will lose some ground. So I'm not going there. Dave likes the 5, 11, 11, 5. So the problem I have with the 5, I have a note on this horse, but and maybe, I mean, it definitely can't rate. It definitely needs the lead, and it's cutting back in distance here. I don't think I can use the 5. I saw my note on it. We have a horse to watch in the 11. It's moving up in GSR. I can throw out the last race fairly easily. It's coming off a layoff. My note on here broke very slow. Needs the lead. It also, okay, hold on. It needs the lead. No, it doesn't need the lead. I mean, it rated here. What is my note? And needs the lead. Also, there was a faster horse in the race. So I'm forgiving that horse in that race. It rated here, but that was against a 50 group. I don't treat that the same. So this horse is going to be flying. So completely see the 5 and the 11 dueling. So and they're going to be the 2 favorites most likely. So I'm not taking those horses. Now I'm going to defer to the Equinedge morning line. The 12 horse is going to be too far back, so I don't like that. So what about a horse like the 10 horse, Autumn Glory, who's the second pick? Castellanos aboard.
Yeah, I struggled with this race. It's a very entertaining race, to be honest with you.
It
There
is.
seems to be a ton of speed, right?
There's speed. Yep.
Yeah, let me just see. Did we have any late? Yeah, no, there's no late scratches of note, right?
No, just the
Except the AEs, right?
Mhm.
All right. I mean, I think the 4 it was interesting with Joe Sharp. First time turf. This horse is going to be gunning, right? Had late for his last start that had won. She had blinkers on, Lasix on. This horse just aired. It's a fast race. The 4 and the 5 will be going out. The 2 has speed. I just think that this is the 5's got speed, right? The 8's got speed. So this seems like a race for a pace meltdown. We'll watch this race here. I've got the 1-2. You've got the 2-1.
Yeah. Yeah.
Condora off the turn, 2 on
We had
top,
talked about this race, and you said the 1 was going to get the lead, and you were right.
That's Chloe's Toy. There's an 1/8 of a mile to go. Condora roused on the top end by Zayas. She's got a kick, and she's 3 in front again. Miguel's Bell is up into second. Back to third, Chloe's Toy. Condora in front. She wins by a length and a half.
Nice
Adele
job by
Jones,
So
Zayas.
now you got a nice place price horse to 5. So in retrospect, the 5 is probably the play. That's your value horse. And you had 2 today. You had a 40-1 shot run a second, right? And you had a 17-1 shot. So sometimes do you take the favorite or the second price horse in the win slot, or do you just sometimes you want to just play long shots and hope at least you get a second? So that would have worked in 2 occasions in this speeders, just in 6 races.
Way. Yeah, but I think the 1 went off at what,
Right.
2-1. It's not like I think you're still better off probably taking the 1 because you're gonna get probably 880, 920. So
Right.
But no, good call. Like that's, to be honest with you, David, what you have to do in these races. You have to make a commitment the way you think the race is going to play out, knowing that it might not play out that way. I mean, the 2 could have got the lead, the 1 could have broke bad from the rail, but you were committed
Correct.
that the 1 was going to get the lead, and that's exactly what happened. So, good call. All right.
All right. The last race we do. I'm sorry.
No, I'm sorry. I was just going to say, like, we have to figure out, like, this 3 horses, even a horse that could close, but it's only been on the turf 1 time. Like, we need, like, here's a race where that's interesting, but this horse seems to need the lead. That's the 2, and there's so much speed. I'm eliminating all the speed horses, but the GSR is going up from 56 to 74. But for me, I can't use them. I can't. I just think there's going to be a meltdown.
Yeah, I think I'm on the same page. I originally was going to take a look at the 4. I like when I see first time turf, and I like the breeding. That's an angle for me, especially at a price. The 12-1 morning line is very enticing. But the more that I look at it, it's going to be tough for this horse to win. I know it's 6 furlongs. You're going to have a lot of pace going on here. And then I'm like, okay, who can win at 6 furlongs? Okay, closing. Now, the 9 is the legitimate closer, right? Snowy Evening, Steve Christ's horse. This horse is second race now off a layoff, but only tried 1 other race at the 6 furlong distance. Has won at 7, had a second on at 6, but I think this horse is more of a closer and prefers a distance. So this horse may be too far back early. Caldwell Loves Gold, first time on turf for Brad Cox, Lasix on. This horse is got no speed. This horse will be far back, but doesn't have to worry about traffic issues. This horse will be sitting in outside post. So I considered that horse. Menage Dream is going to be close to the pace. I'm not sure I'd love that. I don't know. The horse that I'm going to, I guess, try to make here is the 1, Rebo's Valentine. I've got a few concerns. This is first time on turf. And the concern I had, Scotty, and maybe you can add something here. This horse has had 14 starts. She's a 5-year-old mare. So breeding is point of entry out of a Dynaformer. So this horse has turf breeding. The concern I have is this horse has never been tried on the turf. Are they just reaching for straws here and trying to see maybe this horse can run better on turf? I'm not sure. But off the claim, I figure this horse is with Irad Ortiz picking up the mount. He usually can position a horse well. I don't love I don't mind the rail going 6 because this horse is not going to gun. I'm looking for a price here, and I guess I would go with the 1 Rebo's Valentine, and then I'm going to try the 3-year-old first time on the turf for Cox. Caldwell Loves Gold. A couple of things against it, against her. She's a 3-year-old filly against mostly older, and got no speed. And I guess so. It would be 112, 19 for me. So I guess I would make the 1 on my primary ticket as the top pick. So 112 for me.
I don't see an issue with it at all. I like I said, I think if they go as fast as I think they're going to go, and both, I have notes on both the 11 and the 9. or the 2 is very fast as well, but on the 5, and it both says that, both of those notes say the horse needs the lead. And if you really look at the 11, 30%, 31, 36%, and lost all 3 of those races, and 2 of those races didn't, lost badly. Like, I just cannot use this horse. There's just no way. And I feel the same way about the 5 horse, and the 2 is super fast. I just, yeah, I don't think I can. I think that we are looking at a fast pace with a lot of horses that need the lead. And the truth is, the 1 horse is somewhat tactical. Yeah, the horse has never been on the turf before. If it can handle the turf, it'll be good. It's earned $190,000. You actually might be onto something. I think I'm onto something with the 10 horse as well, because the 10's off a layoff. Castellanos aboard. This horse has been very, very consistent against nice horses, by the way. And last time out, something happened. Obviously, this horse has its issues. It's only had, 5 races since 2021. So clearly this horse has got issues. But Castellano jumps aboard. I'm guessing the horse is probably training good. Does it need the race? I don't know. I mean, 18% jockey or off the layoff. Maybe this horse can run good off the layoff. I'm kind of liking your 1 horse a little bit with Irad Ortiz a little bit.
There you go. Yep. If you told me Irad Ortiz at 10-1 in a competitive race, I'd be like, yeah, well, no issue with that. So, Scotty, I'm going to be looking. The race is going off at the Big A, the 4th race, the one up the turf. I know we can't show it live, but I will tell you the 9 is 1-2. The 9 horse, Just Music, is 1-2, and the Clement horse is 5-2. My only shot here is getting Wake Up Lauren home at 9-1 in one of my tickets, because I haven't shot with the other 2. So
did they take off yet?
Yeah, the 9's got an easy lead.
Yeah,
and then 7's ranging up on the outside. So it's 9-7 going into the first turn. It looks like the 7's going to challenge the 9, and the 7's going to take an easy lead.
Wow.
Maybe the 7, like I said, wanted to go the 1.25 miles. We'll see.
Yeah. In this race over at Belmont 9, what do you think of the 9 horse, Snowy Evening? I mean, this horse has a little bit of class to it, and it's gone 1 time 6 furlongs on the turf, and it actually got a nice 2nd place finish in a maiden special weight. It's very consistent. I just don't know, for my liking, is it going to be just too far back early?
Yeah, I had mentioned that horse earlier, and this is a legitimate closer, right? Now, this horse is owned by Steve Crisp. The concern I would have originally looking at it is David Donk is 0 for 21 at the meet. But keep in mind that David Donk is, to me, primarily a turf trainer, and turf just began a couple of weeks ago. So you can kind of toss it out there. His barn's very streaky, and they point to Saratoga more than anything. But so they're back on turf. This horse has some ability. But I think I prefer this horse going a little further. So the 6 furlongs does concern me. This horse is won at 7 and broke its maiden at 6. But finished second. It had a 2nd place finish at 6, and it's on April 8th of 2023.
I will say this about this horse. This horse showed speed going long and now cuts back, and I really like that angle, and it's gonna get a lot of pace to chase. So it really does kind of set up for this horse. I like the 10 as well. I'm going to stick with it. I'm going to do 10, 9, 9, 10. What are you going to do in this race?
In this race, I'm going 112. Rebos Valentine over the 3-year-old, first-time Lasix Caldwell Loves Gold.
And I will tell you, and maybe I'm ignoring this horse and I shouldn't be because of the simulator. Maybe it's throwing me off a little bit. This horse is facing much, much easier. That being said, it's facing older horses for the first time. It had only 1 race as a 3-year-old. And so you just don't know what this horse can do. Plus, it doesn't really have a lot of speed, and it draws that 12 hole. So it makes me, wonder. It's going to be pretty far back. So I'm going to go against it, knowing that the 12 could run good. But I like your 1, but I also like the 10 and the 9 as well. I don't think you take a favorite in this race. All right, we have one more race to cover. That's Santa Anita, race number 3.
Okay, Scotty, just for
Who won that
final,
race?
it was 9-4-5. The 9 was 3-5. Just Music won by a pole. Took over from the 7 at the top of the stretch, but before it was closing. So 9-4-5. So Clement's horse, the jinx continues. Jitterbug at 5-1 has finished 3rd. So I gave another hex to a Clement horse. So it keeps continuing.
I know. Oh, okay. Let's run.
Sorry. Sorry, Acacia, Clement, and all the Clement family. I promise I won't pick any more of your horses.
I absolutely love these 5 furlong turf races, 5.5 turf. I feel like I do well in them because you can. There's less, unless they break bad, of course. There's less likely for something to go wrong. And you can take horses that are just fast. So it's to me, anyways, it's a little bit less complicated. When I look at the 6th horse, who's the Equinedge long shot, I see a horse that's dropping from a 61 GSR to a 49. The win percentage goes up a little bit, and it's facing a little bit easier. It barely won against a 60 group at 30%. That was off a layoff. It's just not my type of horse. But you can tell I'm a big GSR fan because I've just been doing this too long. And they that being said, if the low GSRs are going to win, it's going to win at the sprint on the sprints for sure. And it's 5-2 on the Equinedge morning line. I don't know. Do you have a horse that you like a lot? First call, it looks like the 1 will have the lead over the 3. Then the simulator has the 1 backing up, but I do like how the GSR is going up, win percentage going up, facing similar. But this horse has burned a lot of money too, and it definitely needs the lead. The 3 horse is very cheap but fast, and this one's going to send. So I think I'm going to play against. But look at the 1 horse though; it's 26% to win, and 7-1 Equinedge morning line, and the GSR goes up. It's a scary one to throw out, especially at a possible good price.
Yeah, and it seems like, again, 5 furlong turf races. I know you have less difficulty than I do with them. So the issue I have here is these horses seem to take turns beating each other. Like, for instance, we've got the 2 Doug O'Neill horses, Beer Money and Refocus. Especially Beer Money. Beer Money has raced against the 1 a couple times and beat that horse.
Yeah.
The 1 seems to be the speed, but it's going to take pressure from the 3, I guess. Thirsty Thursday has won and beaten both of those horses. But, when I'm looking at this, it's only 5 furlongs. I'm going to take a shot here, and I know you don't like this horse, Scotty, but I'm going with the longer price of the O'Neill horses, and that's Refocus. This horse had a crowded start last time, so trouble line first time on turf. I don't love the turf breeder. Pavel, Square Eddy was it's Redo It, the dam out of Square Eddy, who can, I guess, not a bad turf sire. But the thing is, this horse in its prior races, March 4th, stayed close to the pace, and also the race at Del Mar on August 11th in a 2-year-old stakes race. I'm hoping this horse stays a little closer to the pace, and Rispoli will have this horse closer. And I always love when a trainer's got 2 horses in a race. I always love the angle of play the longer price. So I'm going to take a shot here with the 6 Refocus. And I guess I would go with the 6 over the 5 here Thursday. So it's 6-5 for me.
Okay. God, I want to go with the 1 so badly at 26%. GSR going up. I mean, that's going up 11 points. Win percentage going up 10 points. It's a hard one to throw out, but but when you look at this horse too, other than this gate to wire here going 5 furlongs at Delmar breaking his maiden, I mean, he's just done nothing but burn money. It's a rough one. Do I ignore it? And if so, I mean, look at the horse that seems to be finishing. It's Beer Money, and Beer Money it's cutting back in distance, but the GSR goes up a little bit. But this is another horse. Look, I mean, this is not easy. I mean, this horse has been pretty decent win percentages, and it keeps losing. What about here? 38% lost, 25% lost, 37% lost badly. I mean, this is not endorsing.
No, I hear you. But again, it's a race that I normally struggle with. So I again, the 6 is the best price to me. So I'm going to give a shot with the 6. And this is the last race in the sequence, right? So
it is.
Well, hopefully I'll be in contention. You know, it's like, hey, listen, I'm going to look for a price.
What about a horse like the 5 horse, Thirsty Thursday? You brought that up. I mean, this horse is a pretty consistent horse. Other than this race here, for whatever reason, it was in between horses and tired. If you were to throw out this 11-18 race, I mean, what has this horse done in the last 4 races? Then it would have been 2 seconds and 2 first place finishes, and one of them was going 6 furlongs on the turf. So cuts back to 5 furlongs. GSR does drop a little bit, but I don't think 5 furlongs will be this horse's issue if it loses.
Yeah, and this horse got off slow last time out and came up and won and beat 2 horses in this race, Beerman and the 1 horse, by getting off slow. It's 29-1, and first time Lasix. So maybe this horse responded in Lasix and gets out of the gate a little better, and that's why I use this horse as my second choice. So it was 6-5 for me. Yeah.
Don't forget to tune into these stretch run, both doing a show on Sunday and Monday. You can see here. Please hit the like button as well. And there's a look. Chris is letting you know we got a couple of big shows coming up, and tune in to see what all the buzz is about. I mean, these guys are just slaying on the stretch run show. It's just incredible. Okay, David, who are you going to go with here?
It's Scotty. It's 6. Refocus the higher priced O'Neill horse over the 5 Thirsty Thursday.
All right, and then I'm going to go with the 5 over the 6. I'm going to try to beat that. Now, the 4 horse, before we go, the 4 horse, I mean, I just broke its maiden. Hernandez was aboard for that. Good luck, Dave, to you. It did win easily. 5 furlongs on, it was an easier group, though, no doubt about it. But this does not seem to be the best group of horses necessarily. Do you give the 4 horse special club a look?
Yeah, I have a little difficulty, Scotty, with this horse. Just breaking its maiden and coming back against winners. I'd like to give a horse 1 shot against winners before I pull the trigger, especially at morning line at 9-5. So I'll let this horse beat me.
Yeah, 95 on the morning line does seem a little bit ridiculous. Yeah, I'm struggling with this. I definitely am struggling with this race. I want to go with the 1 horse so badly, but man, there is so much speed. I mean, the 7's fast. The 7's going to be sitting right there. The 3 is going to be super fast. Let me run this race one more time. Let's see what we find. I'll sort from the top. There we go. So there's the 1. I mean, the 1 is on the lead right here. Coming into the second call. Looks like the 7 takes the lead. pretty early. And then here comes the 4. 6 is right there. 5 is coming. I mean, maybe at the odds, don't you have to take the 1 to maybe go gate to wire?
Yeah, I guess I'm contradicting myself, huh? I said I get tired of losing playing closers at 5 furlongs, but this is Santa Anita. So I've seen some closers win. I mean, I just think this horse again is 1 for 12. So that's a case where and never won over the turf course at Santa Anita. So I'll let a horse like that beat me, a 1 for 12 horse. I'd rather go with the horse who's 2 out of 6, and that's Refocus. So won twice, double the amount of wins that the 1 has had. So I'm on board with it.
Yeah. Training wise, the 1 horse really hasn't had a recent work. Yeah, I'm going to struggle with this one a little bit, but either way, thank you, David. Great job as usual.
Thank you, Scotty.
Appreciate all of you watching and tuning in with us today. Don't forget to watch the Stretch Run Show tomorrow and Monday. And thank you to all the veterans out there. We appreciate you. And have a wonderful weekend and a successful weekend. And we'll see you soon. Okay, everybody?
Okay. Thanks for everybody for joining. Have a great Memorial Day weekend. Great and safe weekend. Thanks again.
Yes, sir.